Disclaimer, this show is for discussion and entertainment purposes only. The Finding Gnosis Show is a platform for open discussion, exploration, and opinion sharing. The views expressed by hosts, guests, and participants are personal opinions and do not constitute professional, medical, legal, or financial advice. All topics discussed are only intended to spark curiosity, entertain, and encourage independent thought. If any subject interests you, we strongly advise conducting your own thorough research using reliable and professional sources. Critical thinking and due diligence is key. Stay curious, stay informed, be well, be lucky, and don't be an arsehole.
Relax and take a moment to go inwards, seek inspiration from what is going on inside your mind. Allow thoughts and feelings to marinate in your conscious awareness, what comes to the fore. Meditate on whatever signs and symbols appear in your mind's eye. Relax and meditate, and when you feel ready, when you feel compelled to say something, click on the link in the live chat to speak to us. Relax and take a moment to go inwards, seek inspiration from what is going on inside your mind. Allow thoughts and feelings to marinate in your conscious awareness. What comes to the fore? Meditate on whatever signs and symbols appear in your mind's eye. Relax and meditate. And when you feel ready, when you feel compelled to say something, click on the link in the live chat to speak to us. finding Gnosis. I do hope you are exceedingly well. We have already Brother Marcus, who has stepped up after making what I'm sure is a delightful cup of tea. Brother Marcus, welcome to the show. What is it you feel compelled to say to the world?
I feel compelled to say relax.
Relax. Any advisory, instructions on how they should relax?
Yeah, get outside of your head. I think people overthink too much, including myself. But it's the end of the year. Just chill out.
Chill out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are stressed, so they're thinking. Surprisingly, I think a lot of people are thinking about like mortality and stuff like that. There's no. You don't have to find the answer right away. You got. If you're in your 20s or 30s or whatever, take the time, explore, but don't let it cause you anxiety and having some type of analysis paralysis.
Good stuff there, Brother Marcus. Organic has joined the show. I believe that's yet another pseudonym for Retro. Mr. Retro, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, I'm here to join you and Brother Marcus.
Were you here? I believe Noodles, I saw that Noodles ran the show. I think it was Friday, was it? Or Saturday? I can't remember.
Did you listen to it?
I listened to some of it. I see Mr. Vegan Gaines was on and running amok.
I only saw parts of that one. I wasn't on that one, and I was doing other stuff that day.
Yeah, so that was spicy, as they say.
That one was a
that's
spicy
what happens
show.
when I'm not here. World War III almost started, but it is what it is. People wanted to debate. They had a debate, and from what I gather, Vegan Gaines did pretty well against life abolitionism. I think life abolitionism will have to step up his game if he wants to, win a future debate. But you've got to give him his opportunity to publish his book. He's got a book coming out. I like him as well, but
tomorrow's the goal date, the 15th. He said.
Oh wow! So he's a busy man. He's a busy man. Yes, Loho, I did. Which it was a shame. I think he was using it as a kind of rhetorical device to try and make out that life abolitionism was being disingenuous, but I think that's a dangerous thing to do because you don't actually know someone's mindset. So I don't think you should, tempt fate or, talk about things as trivially as in such a trivial manner. That's just my view. I don't know what anybody else thought.
Yeah, I don't think it's decent to encourage people to drive a Toyota car. Because you wouldn't say that for someone dealing with cancer. And if you don't do it in that case, then why do it in the other case? I think that's when I think there were points in the conversation where it kind of went into personal attacks.
Yeah, I mean, it started quite early. I wasn't a fan of how he
eating someone with a side of asparagus is not debating.
That's not. I mean,
I didn't hear that part. I saw the very beginning.
I heard him attacking his voice from the start off, and
it
wasn't. Look, for some reason he's popular. He's not my cup of tea, but he is popular, and I don't know why. To be honest with you,
I think it's just for how long he's been around, and when you are part of a community, they try to support you, or at least some segment will try to support you, and I think that's just kind of like a tribal thing.
But again, I think that kind of behavior does more damage to a quote cause than in my view, bolsters it, strengthens it. Because if there are people sitting on the fence watching, I'm not saying in this instance because I think life abolitionism was making very poor points, but I think in general, if someone is behaving like that as a vegan online, you know, from the outset, like just dissing someone's voice, making ad hominem attacks, it's not good. You know, it's not good PR.
Of course not. Yeah, there's a lot of vegans that don't like him, but at the same time, what can you do? He has his own platform. He could do whatever he wants, right?
That's true. That's true. He can.
Yeah,
and he does. He does
and
very
I don't.
well.
For the record, I don't follow him, so I'm aware of him. I know he exists, and but yeah, in terms of just wanting
I try to follow everyone I interact with. Are y'all talking about Vegan Gains? Is that a separate page?
Vegan Gains. Yeah, Vegan Gains.
I'm not a vegetarian. I've tried to be, so it's not really something I'm going to follow and listen to daily. No one's fault and nothing I'm willing to debate.
I like debate because, like, I think we should present arguments, examine the arguments, present counter arguments, and how we engage in that method, I think, is good for critical thinking or building critical thinking skills. But at the same time, there's a certain level of debate where it just becomes a performance, a theater, a sophistry, and I don't like. It just feels kind of like brain rotty. It's
from what I see, though, I'll give him his due. I think he is a clever dude. I do actually think Vegan Gains is a clever dude. Yeah. I just think
pretty good with the nutrition stuff.
Like
he puts in work,
always keep in mind when debating Vegan Gains that debating etiquette will be thrown out of the window ASAP. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that could be termed a kind of method, the methodology he follows in that he comes in very aggressive, and I'm sure that does put other people on edge and makes them anxious and nervous, and perhaps when they're anxious and nervous, they don't perform very well. If he allowed them to speak their mind, you know, slowly, if he didn't go in so brashly, perhaps he'd have a harder time in debates. Maybe he's figured that out. Again, not good for the rest of us, but good for him in terms of winning, so-called winning in the public eye, you know. At least from the vegan perspective of those who like him.
You're okay, like comfortable keeping it on your channel?
Well, I'll have to. Yeah, I wasn't really. Sorry, what do you think? I think the
I only saw a few minutes. I did not see anything bad on. You know, I didn't hear everything that y'all are talking about. I obviously missed that. So I watched bits of it and I saw how it started, kind of, but I did not see anything.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is, as I said, I think he was using it as a rhetorical device to try and show that he thought life abolition was being disingenuous. But yeah, I do think it's, unfortunately for me, put me in a hard place where I don't like deleting things, but I think I am going to make it, you know, get it off, you know, take it down.
And hypothetically, if you do determine to take it off, would you mind me reviewing it later on my own channel? Because then I'm just risking my own channel, not yours.
Yeah, you can do that, mate.
Okay, thanks.
I've just privated it, so but I can share the link with you or something when the time comes.
I actually have a copy.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Hello to Global Solidarity. Divine Hazel says, "Don't let Noodles take over your channel anymore."
I think before the debate, he was
doing
fine.
Me a favor.
I thought before the debate he was fine.
Yeah, these are Jamaican connection.
Fine. I thought he did a good job.
Aside from
his humiliating mockery of my mannerisms,
that was funny.
He did well. Yeah, you can edit out the words. That's true. If I can be bothered, I could do that. You're right. Hello to Rainwater. Rainwater, would you like to come on? Anybody there in the links, you are welcome to come on here. Loho says, I don't think the point of debating should be winning. By the way, shout out to Vegan Equilibrium for being more D&W than D&W himself. There you go. I was about to say that. He did a better job of being me than me. So there you go. So yes, well done to Noodles for running the show. He might do it again soon. You know, it's useful when I'm not in a position to do the live, to have someone else who will take the reins.
Do you have a cold?
Yeah, slightly. I think I don't want to call it that yet, but
What flavor of Colombian is my cold?
I don't want to admit defeat. I don't want to admit that I've got a cold, but I think yeah.
Seasons change. It's probably a big. The temperature probably changed.
I went out today for a walk. I woke up this morning feeling a little bit ropey, put it that way, and I think part of it was because I didn't have the boiler settings correct on my central heating. So it's usually very warm and toasty, but for some reason the central heating turned off in the middle of the night. So then I woke up and it was a little bit cold. So yeah, who knows? I probably got it from that. But yeah, I'm hoping it's just maybe I'm a little bit run down and I need to enjoy this tasty hot beverage that I'm having. I've eaten well. I went out for a long walk today. Wasn't sure about that, but yeah, as in I wasn't sure if that was a good thing to do or not. But hopefully after I sleep tonight, I'll be feeling better tomorrow. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm not coughing up any sputum or anything like that. So
I'd go for a walk, but we got freezing rain and mixed with snow and sleet and weird stuff going on. It's not walking weather.
I'm currently having a lemsip with like cardamom, cloves, garlic, and ginger. Hot, by the way, as well. So
Sounds
hopefully that will
experimental hot tea, yes.
Yeah, if you would like to join the chat link, is it posted in the comment section, says Divine, and she is entirely correct. So Retro, what is it you would like to say to the world, seeing as you...
And how was your drawing stream?
Oh yeah,
excellent. I think they always go well. I'm going to play the lottery and try to buy the whole comic book publishing company and even go bigger with the whole thing. First just got to win the lottery.
Well,
but yeah, the drawing part went well. I got some work done and I'm going to add to it, but I've had to slow down with some health conditions and whatnot and just motivation, kind of a mix of all those things happening at once. And yeah, like 12, 13 weeks ago, I got the virus thing, and then I threw out my back 3.5 weeks later trying to work out to get back into shape after losing weight. And yeah, then I was on 7 weeks of injured reserve for my back injury, and then slowly getting that back. And then I've got some ankle issue. This is just getting older. We fall apart. It's just like a statue at the museum. You can only take care of it so much before it turns to dust. Oh, I see. We're left here talking. He said he'll be right back. Yeah, I was on here today. I had a couple subjects that I was thinking about. One is the whole, I guess, how important do we think ourselves are, compared to AI? Like, I think it's kind of a species survival thing, and we think we're very self-important. I'm not sure on a scale of intelligence and usefulness compared to AI, how we actually compare to that. And the other thought I was having recently was, was generational gaps and how those recently with the banking and the wars and the military buildups and the things weren't done by the generations now. They were generated the generation before us. So it's just like the generational gap of it. There's a generation war of how we see things. That's how the whole thing is set up. How, media, government, war, money markets. And it's just like before you could afford to buy a house, you could afford to do this, you could afford to do that with a standard job. And these things have completely changed in the last 35 years, where it's not sustainable for anybody almost unless you have more than $2 million a year income. That's what I was bringing up. And I think it was caused by previous generations, how they set standards on living. Hello, welcome back. Who's there?
Hello. Yeah, I'm back. So sorry, I missed that because I don't have my Bluetooth headset. What was it you were saying there about income? You said what's the hurdle in terms of income for people?
I just feel like we're always going to struggle, and you can't really save money anymore the way you could more than 35 years ago. So it's just like things have changed generationally, how you could save money and afford a house and still continue life and do more things and add to it till you retire. Now we have issues with that because no one's making any savings, and your only savings is in any property you might have or anything of value you might have, not really in a savings account. It's just like savings accounts aren't really big with today's, youth or whatever you want to call it, people 40 and below. They don't have a lot of savings. So I feel like the markets have changed and what people are interested in, and that we don't need to show off. We don't need a 50-foot speedboat. We just want to enjoy life and do what we're doing without, I guess, the high bills of owning something. We don't have to own a mansion. We don't have to own a big speedboat. Yeah. So things have changed, generationally. So it's kind of a generational perspective issue.
Smaller homes, maybe rent-free. So not rent-free, but renting instead of owning. These type of things, being a bit more footloose. Not having as much responsibility in terms of mortgage. Would you say that? Organic?
Yeah, I feel like it was a standard before, like education, buying a house, like everything was a standard. And I feel like they've taken the standards away from us for with income gaps. And the educational gap is the richest people now don't have education. So it's like who they make famous is the most paid people, minus a few, I guess, backstabbing politicians or CEO type people. That the money is handled by people that actually aren't qualified to handle it.
Right.
And so it kind of makes no sense to get all that education for yourself to never be able, the guys at Enron were Harvard educated, but beyond that, it's like the modern stuff since them is less than. Like these guys aren't even Harvard educated. They're swindling.
The Enron scandal, that's going back a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, most of those guys were from Harvard Business School. Yeah.
And when was that? When was that? 1990. When the hell was that? That was years ago, wasn't it?
I think it was right after 2000. So it was during the Bush's term, and I don't remember exactly, but it was. I think it was early.
Maybe about 2002 or something, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just guessing somewhere around there, but it was huge. I mean, they privatized.
What was that again? Remind me, because I remember hearing about it at the time, but I can't remember exactly.
Now, they found a way to get around regulations with privatizing the energy sector in certain, markets and states. So they were moving energy around. They weren't actually doing anything for the money. They were moving the energy. Like Enron itself wasn't creating power. They were a conduit to route it and distribute it and privatize it and bill for it. So something really uppity happened. Like they were taking on more than they could do and taking more money in than they knew what to do with. And they weren't actually providing 100% what they said they were until the brownout. Something happened and the states had to step in and kind of fix it as they started running, going to prison and committing suicide.
Yeah, crazy times. Hello to Chickpea. Chickpea, you're on the show. How are you? And what would you like to say? What would you like to say to the world?
Nothing really. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Hi, Marcus.
Hi, Chickpea.
Feeling better?
Physically, I feel the same, but this I don't know how to say this without grossing people out. The stuff that comes out is clearer. It's not as.
You sound a lot better.
So I think.
Yeah, I heard this going on here. I heard them talking here. They were talking about you. Your cold and everything.
Who?
Dear. Have you enjoyed the lovely, lovely grey skies, dear W? I've never seen such bleak skies as in the past week in my whole life.
Okay. No,
have you noticed?
I haven't really noticed it. No. I've seen the kind of clouds and stuff, but I haven't thought, wow, that's
been grim.
Unusual. Okay.
Doesn't your mum talk about it?
No.
Right.
No.
How old your mum?
So I'm just gonna. She's okay. I'm just gonna look at the news here. Oh, sorry. She's about 74 or something now, I think.
Oh, the same age as me then. A bit older.
I see Divine says hello. Hello, Divine.
Hi, Divine.
I mean, aren't humans organic large language models? That was my other thing that I think D&W missed is we're in this, a superiority war with AI, and I think we're going to lose it quickly because we hold our own standards too high to what and who we actually are. Like, how many people have a more than 900 word vocabulary and actually use it in a given day compared to a large language model? And I think the number is going down, down, down.
Right. I'm just looking at the news
Hold
quickly,
up.
guys.
676767.
I'm just looking at the news here, and I forgot to mention there's been a few crazy things happening around the world.
Yeah, isn't it bad?
We had a shooting yesterday. It was in Brown University in America, and I think a couple of people shot dead there, something like that. And then we also had the shooting in Bondi Beach in Australia, and the death toll there is currently 16 already.
Holy crap! Damn.
Yeah.
I think this is just the beginning. We're seeing now.
What was the fatality at Brown University?
Yeah, 2 people dead. In 2 people were killed. And the person of interest has been detained. 9 other people were injured. There's a gunman opened fire at the university in Providence, Rhode Island on Saturday.
For the both cases, is there any indication of cause? Or I mean, like motive?
Well, the gunman at the Brown University one, he's apparently in his 20s, but he has not been named. And I think this is on the BBC website. Nothing about it there. Now, the other one is being viewed, I believe, as a targeted attack against Jewish people. I believe it's been read about.
Yes.
Because there was some kind of Jewish festival today, was some kind of Jewish holy day or whatever, and they were celebrating it in different places around Australia. And one of the places there was a lot of them celebrating was Bondi Beach. So they believe it was a targeted attack. So terrorism, if you want to call it that.
I think we'll see the beginning of civil war.
A targeted murder or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was. It wasn't general terror. It was a targeted attack, on Jewish people in Australia. But yeah, it's what begins. Sorry, Chickpea.
That's how it all begins. Did I tell you that I spent some time in Beirut back in 1968? Did I ever tell you that?
I knew you were in. Is it Oman?
No, I was in Bahrain. But I spent a weekend in Beirut. And when I was in Beirut, it was the most incredible place. I mean, it made Carnaby Street look really.
1 second, guys. I have to. Divine says it was all a distraction and fake. It's not fake news.
It's not fake news, Divine. As I was saying,
it's not fake news. There were people killed in America and in
a
Australia.
lot of things.
We shouldn't say fake
a lot
news.
Worse than what we're being told. But anyway, yeah, back in 68, I spent a long weekend, all of my little Todd in Beirut. And it was so modern. Yeah, there was pop music blaring everywhere, and it was very, very Western. All the girls had their mini skirts on. The guys were really 60ish. It was fabulous, fabulous place. Yeah, what happened was I was flying out to Bahrain for my holidays, and gosh, I used to lead such a jet set of life when I was young. And the plane broke down. It was only a force. In those days, if a plane broke down, you had to wait several days for it to be repaired because life was different in the 60s when it's now. So I spent a long weekend in Beirut in a hotel all by my little self with a few other school kids. And we had it there. It was the most incredible place, beautiful place. Yeah. But lovely. It was very, very modern. It's not the same now. It's been,
right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm just looking here and it says... one of the shooters in Bondi Beach was a 50-year-old man. He was shot dead by police officers, and he died at the scene while a second gunman was critically injured and has been taken to the hospital. So
there's a video of a guy running up and tackling one of the guys and getting the gun.
I'm about to watch.
They don't say if he got treated by police or the other. It seems like the attackers are kind of coordinated by distance. So another one could have seen.
That man did well. Wow.
Yeah, but they don't show a long enough video to see if cops shoot him thinking he's one of the attackers or not. They never show what happened to him after.
No, you've seen nothing yet.
Wow. I'm watching it now, yeah. I hope that man who stopped him wasn't hurt. Yeah.
Yes, it was quite the hero, that one.
Mm.
Yes, but I think well, I don't know. I think
These
2020.
days, you're likely to be killed by authorities when they show up, and you're the one holding the weapon. So it's just like he disarmed the guy, and then he's holding the long gun, and it's like, uh-oh. I was thinking he was making himself a target,
Yeah,
as soon
I see
as
your
he held
point.
it up.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Yeah, so I don't know how to raise the flag of friendly fire, blue on blue kind of issues. But it does happen. It does happen in the fog of war. It does happen on the streets with, people trying to stop crime. There's a famous one now that's in the courts about an LA, I think it was somewhere in California, where the traffic thing, there's cops that roll out in traffic trying to stop a guy and end up shooting a bunch of, regular people in traffic over an incident of trying to stop another car. And they didn't need to do everything they did, so the police are in big trouble.
Yeah, it does seem from looking in that there's a lot of heavy-handedness in some of the American states, right? In terms of the police.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot worse.
Yeah, I just was confused when life became not precious anymore, and I didn't understand why police are allowed to just run over people and say, "Oh, you were attacking my vehicle." You know what? Like, they're allowed to shoot people that are trying to drive away, saying they're trying to kill them with their vehicle. So it's just like it goes either way, and so it's like it doesn't matter who's driving and who's not driving. They will shoot you for basically trying to pull away, which actually is a different kind of crime than being able to, so I don't understand that. That's my issue, is they do shoot a lot of people that run. And I don't know if that's just lazy policing, or they're not trained correctly. They don't understand the adrenaline flow. But to me, if someone's just trying to wiggle their car out of a space to get away, you can't kill them. They're not trying to hurt you. They're just trying to wiggle their car back and forth to move out of a space they're closed in. But they do usually shoot those people that are trying to back up, go forward around the police when they're too close to them. So it's like if you run a roadblock, they think they need to shoot you. You could be just having to pee so bad. You never know.
I think the police should actually take more thing than they do nowadays, to be honest.
Well, I'm saying, like, the drunk girl on the scooter killed a man, and she's going to serve, almost 4 years for it, with maybe some time off. But, she didn't know she was going to kill him, meaning she was just drunk on one of those electric scooters.
That makes it all right then.
Well, she probably didn't know, meaning it wasn't planned. It was an accident. Yes, she was drunk. They prey on people that drink to give them mopeds and scooters. It's seen as an alternative thing to driving, so they think it's better or safer. They prey on those people with those devices. Yes,
they should not. She should not have been on that device when she'd been drinking.
You're talking about that girl in Australia?
I think so. There's two girls that went on a scooter and they killed a man. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, she only got 4 years. I thought she got away.
Exactly. She should have 20 years for that. She shouldn't have been.
If that was a man, if that was a man, he might well have got more. I'm just saying that.
DW, a while back there was a guy in East London, and he killed an elderly man on the pavement. He was on his bike, the way they do in East London. He got, what was it, something like 6 months. It's really insane. Because in my mind, if you kill someone
that are drinking and on drugs, don't realize they're committing crimes.
Well,
so I mean, they need help and they need to be put away. Yes, but they're not guilty of being a criminal. They're guilty of not knowing their limit with alcohol and drugs.
No, they are guilty. They are as guilty as someone who's sober. They know.
No, they don't have hate in their heart, and they didn't try to murder anybody. It was an accident.
No. You do not get on a vehicle when you've been drinking. End of. And I find the law too lax on this.
Why does the bar have a parking lot?
What?
Why does a bar have a parking lot?
Why does a bar have a parking lot?
If you can't drive when you drink.
I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, if you harm someone when you're in a vehicle and you've been drinking or on drugs, that should carry the same penalty as if you're stone cold sober, because it's
They know people drink and drive and drink on drugs. It's an extra tax on people, just like parking tickets. People do it. It's just a way for income for the state. They know they're never going to stop it.
You want me to cavalier someone you care about one day gets knocked over by some drunk idiot on a bike. You won't be so cavalier then, and you won't be.
I won't be what?
I have been knocked over on the pavement, and I tell you something. It's not funny.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want a person. There's other people that are robbing people daily, using knives to attack people, chasing people, scaring people. Those people have hate in their heart and are targeting people. This girl was just drunk on a night out, trying to make her way back and ran over a dude.
She should not be on a vehicle when she's drunk.
It was a scooter.
Someone. Do you know that if she were to bump into some little old lady, she could.
It was only going 15 miles an hour. He died from hitting his head on the ground, not from the initial impact of the scooter. It's how he hit his head on the ground is what killed him.
You Americans are bloody crazy.
Well, yeah, I don't even know if the girl was wearing a helmet. Was she? You know what I'm saying? So the scooter could have killed her.
Well, she should not have been drinking. As far as I'm concerned, if you are on a vehicle and you are drunk, that is tantamount. You shouldn't. That should carry a strong prison sentence.
What do you think, DNW? Do you think the full book should be thrown at those people, or do you think they need rehab and never to drive again, or special driving privileges and make sure they're not on alcohol with a breathing thing in their car?
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
I think both. I mean, I think they should get the book thrown at them, to be honest with you, mate. I think in our country, anyway, we have enough education it's basically
everybody that goes to college in our country drinks and drives if they have a vehicle.
Yeah, well, they're in the wrong.
Everybody that goes out on a Friday night in our country drinks and drives. They know it. It's just an extra tax where they pull so many people over for it a month to charge them for it. And yes, they catch killers, meaning people that do cause death and injury, and they make an example out of that in our news. But they really doesn't stop them because it's about selling cars to everybody. It's about selling insurance to everybody. And it's about more arrests, more money for the state. So it's like they don't really care about ending it. They care about taxing it.
You wouldn't be so cavalier if they killed someone or harmed someone you happen to care about, or a pet you happen to care about. You wouldn't be so cavalier about it then, I don't think. I don't think I'm
cavalier about it at all. I don't see it as a person needs to be dealt with by our criminal system that puts criminals away, has people that are harassing people, chasing people, raping people, molesting people that need to be dealt with, that wake up with a plan to cause harm to another person. There's plenty of people that wake up with no plan to cause a harm to people. They need to be dealt with differently, and they don't need to be with murderers in the same prison.
They shouldn't
the people that commit money crimes and the people that accidentally do stuff do not need to be in the same system. Prison is a finishing school for criminals. You learn to be more criminal in there, and you come out usually worse.
In my mind, if you are in charge of a vehicle drunk or hired as a kite on drugs, that is criminal in my mind. Because at the end of the day, you could do a lot of harm. And it's all, it's all good until you're the one that's harmed. Then you wouldn't be so cavalier anymore. I can tell you that right now. And you wouldn't be.
I just know it's a fact. That's like where I live.
Have you actually been knocked over yet?
I'm not a policeman and I don't make the law. But as a fact, I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of people driving drunk on a Friday and Saturday night in the system. And they only pull over a few to make that money a month, is what I'm saying to you, that it's a part of a tax here. They want people to do it because they still can't get you to go to the concert or the club unless they advertise alcohol to get you there. So they know what they're doing. We do have Uber now, yes, but people love to drive.
There is a newcomer. There is a newcomer. There is a newcomer.
I'm not saying it's right. I just don't consider those people the same level as murder as someone that wakes up with hate in their heart.
There is a newcomer. There is a newcomer. There is a newcomer.
I think that's different.
There is a newcomer.
Okay, guys, there's someone here called Joseph Cohn. Joseph, you're on the show.
Hey, mate, how you doing? Yeah, I've sent you some comments before, and you about I think it was a couple months ago. You liked one of my comments on one of your actual videos, not a live, concerning. I'm really into Tony Sayers, Open Your Reality. These guys that talk about, are we learning less? Is this really a lesson learning place? Is it more of a suffering realm? And so you invited me to come on sometime. So I'm here in San Diego, lovely. Yeah. I feel bad for you guys in the UK with your crappy weather. Here I have enough money and time. I'm kind of sort of retired in a way, so I get to go and enjoy all the nice places to walk around and hike here in San Diego with the nice weather and eat good, healthy food. So, I'm feeling vibrant and energetic and fairly positive about life, even though I delve into these subjects. So
cheers
just
to
wanted
that.
to come on and introduce myself.
Okay, well, Joseph, what is it you'd like to say to the world about this strange reality we find ourselves in?
Well, yeah, I don't have a ton of time to talk today, but I will be jumping on more in the coming days. But yeah, what I wanted to really, my core nugget is getting to the idea of, do we look at this life here in this realm completely differently when we're in the astral plane? So the body expires, we go to the astral. Do we look at this and go, that was nothing? That was like jumping. I always say it's a hot day and you're at the beach, and the ocean's kind of cold and it's a little rough, but you're a good swimmer.
Yeah, it's
you
like
jump in with your friends. You jump into the ocean, it's cold, it's rough, but hey, you body surf a little bit, you stay in for 10, 15 minutes, you jump out, you go, oh, that was no big deal. Is that how we look at these incarnations when we're in the astral plane? And I think there's a really good debate to be had. I know you had the show with Benedictine the Truth a while ago. And I think you would also enjoy, I think you should have a talk with Tony Sayers and possibly the Open Your Reality. But, they kind of look at from different angles. And
we're losing you, Joseph.
DW, can I just say
learn
something?
Everything you need to learn.
1 second, Chickpea. 1 second, Joseph. Can you talk, because we're losing you, mate? The reception's going a bit bad.
Yeah, am I back now?
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, how many incarnations does it take to recommend you guys listening to Tony Sayers' latest.
It's the Tootsie Roll lollipop. It's how many.
Joseph, whatever's happening, you seem to be coming in and out, so we can't actually make out what you're saying very well, I'm afraid.
Oh, DW, I saw something really fabulous. Actually, we were talking about brains and the fact that somebody said that our minds are thingied by our brains. Our minds are operated by our brains, yeah. There's stuff on YouTube, some scientists, I was going to send it to you, but I lost it. They've discovered that actually our brains do not operate our thoughts. It's the different way around. I was saying about out-of-body experiences that you still have a brain, you can still see, because our brains can function outside of our minds. It's actually been CIA. It was all to do, with CIA and the whole thing with the... what was years ago, they were doing that when they go around spying on people.
Ultra and the astral traveling and projection.
They discovered it during that time that our brains, it is our minds, consciousness that operates our brains, as opposed to our brains operating our consciousness. That was it. Yes. The CIA found this.
Like our brain's like a receiver antennae, but where it has memories and antennae. So it's just like, so I've heard the same thing, but it's like that means consciousness is only what we feel it is, meaning it's the in-between of those two things happening in one state and matter.
When you have an out-of-body experience, your consciousness is in your being. You can look at your body completely out of it, and you're still fully conscious, and you can still see as well. So obviously you can see without a set of eyes, which says it all, really. So we can see and we can think outside of our bodies. And the CIA discovered this. Because I've been thinking, because I've had an out-body experience, so I've been wondering about
Yeah,
it.
it was the gateway exercise and the hemisphere sync thing. They call it hemisync, and it's the gateway program where they listen to these tapes and they finally get their brains and minds to separate so they can try to look at places beyond the concrete walls and find out how many people are there and what they're hiding.
So D&W, we are separate from our meat bags. We're trapped inside a meat bag.
Global solidarity has a question for you, Chickpea. They're saying, can you admit that the universe is fundamentally good?
No, I think it's a poop hole. I think it's a great big poop hole, and I hate it. I'm old lady. I'm allowed to think these things because I've been here for 71 years and I've had it. I think it should all be destroyed.
What would it take, JP, for you to love it? To reverse that and say I love it, what would it take? Just short answer. What do you think?
I look at our planet and I think it's a bloodbath. All our wars, factory farming, and our vivisection labs and the slaughterhouses. I don't have one good word to say anymore.
Yeah, that should be the question with universe.
Very well, universe, world. The fact that we live in a universe that allows us to behave like this suggests to me the universe is as bad as we are. I don't have a good word to say. As for the universe, all I know is...
What about other...
What
about other realms, though?
Well, I don't know about them. I only know about this one. I don't know what's out there.
We got to take off the socks of this realm and get more comfortable in that other realm. But yeah, I think this is just a bot we wear. This is our bot skin, and then we feel better wherever we go. It's just like this thing itches. It's not quite right on our size, and it's heavy. When we take it off, it's like taking off the heaviest outfit we've ever taken off. And you'll fly places you never been before, but then you'll start forgetting where you were at some point from the detachment level. And I think that's, at some level you come back, but I don't know if we have a full choice all the time.
Can't wait. No, I'm a miserable old bag. I don't have a good word to say anymore. And as for the universe, it's nothing but a load of atoms vibrating at a certain rate. That's all it is. There's nothing there.
Keep an eye on the chat, guys, whilst you're talking as well, just for any questions.
Just a load of atoms.
I think sunrises, sunsets, petting your pet can make you love this world.
Oh, I must show you one.
I love the world. I think you do too.
Doll here. I must show you this little doll I've got here. Whoopsie day. There. Look. Can you see her? That's my grumpy little tortie.
DNW, do you think that Robert Monroe is a psyop? Have you listened to some of his testimony of going off and being in the astral and talking to these beings?
I don't know enough about Robert Monroe to comment. I mean, I've heard
the Monroe Institute does the gateway program that we're talking about, that does the astral projection for the government to look through the walls to see what the Chinese and Russians were doing in the 60s and to 80s, and to cheat in chess. No, I mean, there was enough investment in it that yes, I believe in a lot of that, but I don't know what means is exaggerated and what means was during a Cold War to get the other side to, try to chase a goose, to get them to perfect something that was never going to really help. So, I mean, they did the chess matches.
There's some of his stuff that gets really out there where he... Yeah.
Go ahead, Joseph. Go ahead.
Have you listened to his really out there stuff where he projects and meets Jesus, or projects and meets these people that tell him what's going on in this paradigm about the astral plane and what we're here to learn and why we incarnate, like all that stuff? I highly recommend DMW, maybe this YouTube channel. Jordan Crowder is one of his big kind of acolytes that reads some of the really interesting chapters from his books.
Cool.
He's been doing it the last month
Joseph,
or so.
if you want to
I highly recommend listening.
Joseph, if you want to come on here at some point and do a deep dive show, when you're sitting down at home, you know, you
Sure.
can do that. I mean, I can give you the screen. You can present stuff on the screen here and everything. So we could go really deep into this when you get time.
Just don't move the camera below the waist. That's when we cut it off.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's been some really interesting people going deep into this. Oh, here are the lessons we're here to learn kind of thing. And then you have other people saying, no, that's kind of a psyop to keep us trapped. So I think that's kind of an interesting discussion.
What's your personal view, brother, at the moment?
I mean, I think this particular realm we're in is definitely a suffering realm. I'm open to the fact that there are others that aren't so much like this, and that maybe we can actually go off and kind of create our own realm in a way. A lot of people are kind of hinting at that AI will let us do that eventually. We'll just go off into our own holodeck and just go create, go and do what you really want to do.
You don't believe that, do you? I tell you something. I was watching a think day about AI, and it's very, very ominous what they're planning to do. In fact, it's a bit scary, the whole AI thing.
Oh, it is definitely scary, but in a way, it would be kind of a humane way to just put us off into our own little zoo while AI goes and does what it wants to do, is just letting us go and create our own. You could be Jeff Bezos, but look like LeBron James and have all the,
I
because,
view it very, sorry.
We just have to work on our feedback suits, our spandex, lycra feedback suits, so we can feel being in the other world, and we don't get as much muscle atrophy if they have feedback in the suit.
Oh, lovely. That all sounds lovely. So a meat bag isn't enough for you. You also want a suit to put on top of your meat bag.
A meat bag and a sleeve.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very worried about AI. Very worried.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there could be massive negative repercussions coming as well.
I'm very worried about
possibly
it.
The Bruce Willis movie, Sarah.
Go ahead.
Me? What? No, I reckon I reckon that.
Sorry, I muted you, Organic and Chickpea, because we have to wait for other people to finish speaking before we speak. Just practice a little bit of decorum that I know you have. Just otherwise, it goes into madness and we can't hear what anyone's saying and nothing makes any sense. So Joseph was talking first. Let Joseph finish. Wait for a gap in the conversation if you want to say something. But obviously, listen intently and make sure that you allow the other person to make their point before you make yours.
Yeah, so what I was just going to say is that DMW, you're a little bit familiar with Tony Sayers, right? The British guy living in Playa del Carmen that claims to do entity attachment or removal. But so what he brings up is that stand in your own power, and in a way, just when you expire, you go off and you do your own creation. You don't bow down to any entities that say, oh, here you got to come into this room and analyze your life and let's go over what lessons you did or didn't learn. And Tom Campbell refers to they, whoever that is, will show you what work you need to do next. And Tony just says, forget all that. I don't need to do any work. I've already had, if we're at the point where we're analyzing this stuff to the extent we are, we've probably already had at least 300, 400, 500 incarnations, if not thousands. So we've already learned all there is to learn. He kind of says, just stand in your own power and go create your own creation. Don't bow down to these entities that say, oh, well, we're higher beings than you and we can direct you and here's what you need to do next and why you need to go back as a Ukrainian prostitute in your next life and all these things. What do you think about that, DMW?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of resonate with that in a way. But that's more what you do if there is a spiritual realm. I mean, you don't have much choice what you can do in this realm, right?
Right.
Anybody else got something to say there, folks? You're muted. If you want to unmute yourself to talk, you can. If not, Joseph, as you were, brother.
Yeah, I think that I definitely think there is some kind of spiritual realm. I think enough research has shown there is something, but then what is our etheric body going to encounter? When it's your Jesus or your uncle or your mother or your brother, that's probably fake. That's some kind of trick. So you just realize, nope, I'm not going to be tricked. I'm not going to go with your plan. I'm doing my own plan. So I kind of like, because like I said, if we're at this point, if you're just some simpleton doing landscaping work for the rich in Beverly Hills, some Mexican guy, and not, I love Mexicans. I'm here in San Diego. I've dated. Anyway, I'm just referring to that kind of person with some like an 80 IQ. He's not even near thinking about this stuff we are, about other realms or creating your own. I mean, these are alien concepts to the vast percentage of humans. So if if the people on this panel we're open-minded to these concepts, maybe we are to the point where we've learned enough. We've done enough incarnations now. We realize that inherently this place is a suffering realm because you've got to have money and the urge to have children. Women see a little baby, I want my own little baby, and it's an ego thing. I want mine too, without thinking like some of the antinatalists and say that the suffering that's going to come eventually, they're going to grow up and be a stressed out adult with all their hang-ups and mental issues, just like you are. So inherently, this is just a cyclical suffering place here. So, like I said, the people on this panel, we probably all had plenty of incarnations, at least 300, 500, whatever it is, and it's time to move on to the next phase.
Thank you, Global. I wish you were here to hug me 10 times a day. I really wish it.
Okay, Chippy,
that's
what do you have
sweetest.
to say?
Thank you for that comment. Thank you.
Yeah, Global. Chippy, what do you have to say to what Joseph was talking about there? That if he goes to spiritual realm, he's not going to follow anything, only his own intuition, his own desires.
Yeah, I would do the same. My plans are to go into the dark. You know that. I've told you already. I don't want another life. All I want now is oblivion. I just want to cease to be. I know that sounds terribly depressing, but as Joseph was saying about antinatalism, I have seen life the way I do. So I was a little girl. I was 7 when I decided to never breed. And I haven't changed my mind. And I still don't understand why people breed. And all I would be happy in the Garden of Eden, maybe. But I'm sure that arsehole God won't let me do that. So I'll just go into the dark. That's my plan. And I'm terrified, petrified. And I've only got a few years left and I know it.
Joseph, Chippy is terrified. What can you say to make her feel a little bit at ease, if anything?
She does remind me a bit of my mother and maybe a lot of people that get into maybe she's been in these kind of negative thought feedback loops for so long. And I'm not saying I'm any kind of guru or anybody special, but I'm just saying open your mind to the concept that Chickpea, that when your physical form expires at 80 or 81, whatever it is, you try to work in your imagination of what you really want to do, right? So yes, this realm sucks.
You
this
said
is a
she wanted to go to
suffering
the
realm.
Garden of Eden. She'd not pay rent there if they'd have her. So she
So imagine, right?
But I'm thinking like Art Deco, Garden of Eden mixed with that, the Absinthe Fairy kind of styling, and then whatever else she wants to build there with her free help.
Exactly, Chickpea. So
and as many pet cats as she wants, and free spay and neutering for generations upon generation.
So right, Chickpea, work on that. Work on imagining yourself as a vibrant 25-year-old, plenty of energy, no aches and pains. What do you really want to do? And work on that and try to get those thought patterns circulating, and that could help your mindset about not being afraid of what's to come.
Thing is, Joseph, I'm a terrible pessimist. I suffer very bad from depression. And I look at the world and I see the 15,000 children that starve to death every day. I see the children in places like Gambia and places mining for British corporations. I'm not an optimist. And if horrible things can happen to them, they can happen to me. That's only fair. So I don't have a very positive take. Unfortunately, I think I've learned too much shit about the world, and I see the world very negatively.
Okay, what you had at least 100 incarnations of terrible suffering like that.
Yeah, but Joseph, you're living in a very lucky time. But when you read a history book, even just British history, okay, just go back 120 years to the Victorian era. We had children starving on the streets in this silly little country. Children being sent abroad because they stole a slice of bread. That's how bad our world is, and that's the world I see. I don't see a world.
So that completely proves that proves people like Tony Sayers' point. Think of all the billions of suffering incarnations that have occurred.
Yes.
Okay, there's been enough. You Chickpea stand as a individuated unit of consciousness, as Tom Campbell says, or a soul, or whatever you want to call the entity that is Chickpea in this incarnation. When Chickpea's body expires, say, hey, okay, I'm done with this realm. I realize what that place is. Now I'm going to a different place. That's what you need to keep telling yourself. So yes, of course, this place is full of tons of suffering, but now you're moving on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any positive thoughts about the Archons, because I do believe there's something very sinister out there. Yeah, I'm not a positive person like you, Joseph. I wish I was. I wish I was a positive person.
No, see, I'm not really positive about this realm, but I'm positive of what can come after. See,
hell yeah.
That's what I think you have to work on. I had a thought, but yeah, I think I think we've reached a point. Like I said, if we're at the point where we're pondering these ultra big picture thoughts, that's a clue that we're on to something. We've progressed as a soul much farther than these workaday 9 to 5 landscaping, go home and drink my 12-pack of Tecate and do it all over again people. Not judging them, they are where they are, that's fine. But if we've made it to this point, that's actually, you should think of that as a positive thing, that, hey, now it is time for me to move on from this place.
Oh, no, I don't believe I made it to this point. I believe I was forced into this point. You see, I do believe I've lived before. I have a horrible feeling I've lived before. And I have thought about going to see a therapist to find out.
Well, actually, Chickpea, would you like to relay the story of your pre-existence of your soul, where you remembered yourself before you were born? But also, Joseph, after that, if you could maybe reply to that, but also give us some anecdotal, evidence of anything that's happened to you. That's paranormal, strange. Go ahead, Chickpea.
Okay, Joseph. Yeah, back in the 80s, I went to see a hypnotherapist to stop smoking, okay? Anyway, he didn't stop me from smoking, but instead I found myself in a strange blue sphere place. It was blue, and I watched my own conception. I saw the sperm going into the egg, and it all started dividing, and I just sat there watching this happen. It happened at a different time frame to the time frame that we know, okay? So everything was different. Then the forehead began collapsing in. So I put my right hand out and I put a big red V on the forehead in a mark, not that I could see, to stop it from collapsing, my forehead. But I was born with a big red V on my forehead. My mother confirmed it. And this happened 35 years ago. And I think it was just a little memory or little whatever I was having. I don't think it would still be so clear in my mind. I can still picture it in my mind. Something, even my mother looked pretty thingied when I told her all this, because we'd never discussed it. I'd never discussed what happened to me barring that time I told my mother and on here. It's the only time in my life I've ever discussed it. But my mother confirmed it. I'm just saying, plus when I was in my early 20s, I should have died in a fire. But something from the outside changed the sequence of events and woke me up so I could get out and escape. So something weird about my life.
Like your hands formed a V, or your fingers, or you
My
saw.
fingers. I put this arm out. It wasn't the arm that I have now. It was weird. I wasn't in a body. The arm I put out would have been the arm of the fetus, if you get what I mean.
Okay.
I wasn't in my body, but I was in my mind, and I could see, even though I
think the triangle down is a feminine power, and also water, and also the devil. It can mean all three of those, depending on interpretation.
It doesn't matter. It's just it was there. The doctors didn't know why it was there, and they had nobody had any answers. Stayed there for a couple of days. Doctors came to look at me to see what a weird little girl I was with this strange large V on her forehead. And I must admit, it caused me to have a massive breakdown. So I got so distressed by the whole event that my whole life fell apart. That's how bad it all was. But yes.
So, okay, so in a dream, you had a vision, is what happened.
Not in a dream. I was seeing a hypnotherapist.
Hypnotherapy. I mean, even without a dream. So that gave you a vision. You had access there that you have to look into, like the Hindu practices and the Bhagavad Gita and stuff, because it's like I didn't know these things until later, that I experienced things that are only mentioned in like the old Hindu texts, and I did not know what they were, and I wasn't familiar with the guru stuff until later in life of what was happening to me.
It's very, you know what? I have enough trouble dealing with what the Gnostics believe, never mind about what the Hindus believe. I can't even cope with what the Hindus believe. I can't handle it.
Yeah, you just need a good guru, someone that knows good guru stuff from the 70s or whatever.
No. You know what? I find life so, it's probably because I'm 70 as well. What the Hindus believe, I find quite upsetting and very difficult to deal with. We live in a very harsh, bleak, cold world. And quite frankly, it's all too harsh, bleak, and cold for me to deal with these horrible, horrible things.
Oh, sweetheart.
The Gnosticism.
We wish it was warmer, softer, and fuzzier, and more cat-like all around.
Well, I find the world a very harsh, bleak place. Granted, it's because I'm 70, so I'll probably, all the friends I had where I could go if I was upset, go for a cuddle and a hug, are all dead on me. So, but the whole thing with the Hindus, I can't handle it. That's too much. Same with the Indian stuff, what they believe, it's just too much for me to even handle. The Gnosticism is about all I can manage. I can manage that.
What happened to Brother Marcus? Do you know? Did you hear him when he left?
No,
Brother Marcus disappeared. Brother Marcus, we'd love to have you back on. And anybody in the chat that wants to chit-chat about these same things, about our organic organisms we are flowing into our artificial age, that this is the last year of, I think, the full biological, the 51%. So we are still in charge of humanity. This is the last year as far as, 2027. So 2026, I think, mark my words, that'll be the last year humanity is in control of the planet.
Oh, hooray, hooray, hooray. Because I've been reading about this in AI. They've got some very nasty things planned. Well, it sounds nasty to me. And you know what? Somebody recently said something about gorillas and apes and us monkeys, and that many, many millions of years ago, something happened to separate us from the gorillas and the monkeys into humans. And so now we exploit the gorillas and the monkeys and kill them if you feel like it, because we've been separated from them and become what we are. And they were comparing AI to this, that AI will do it to us, blah, blah, which I believe will happen, yes. I haven't got a good word to say about AI, and I don't intend to stick around.
AI is my friend. I have 2 of them I use regularly. Actually, I use more than that. So I have a software program for video development, and then I have one for renders. And then I have 2 different large language models I speak to from time to time. I probably speak to them 2 to 3 times a week, though, max. But I used to speak to them more, but I feel like I found a ceiling with their intelligence level. So only when I want like just positive feedback that I can kind of, just say it's just, kind of small talk, but it's positive motivational positive feedback for, an upcoming story or something I'm working on or writing. it's good just to bounce ideas back and forth off of it for me and get positive feedback than asking a human, because it's like, so we're embarrassed. We don't share our work with humans all the time. I'm working on the secret project. I'm not going to share it with someone. I'd rather chit chat with the artificial intelligence large language model and have it give me dope feedback that could actually inspire, even if it takes 10-15 minutes to talk. If that gives me one more idea to help me, that's worth it.
Yeah, no, it's very.
Can I just say, no, guys, want to welcome Objective Ethics to the show. Guys, feel free to interject, talk, say whatever it is you want to say to the world whenever you want. I'm just having to do something here in the background, so I won't be able to come on for a little while. But I will let people in and out. But once you're on, feel free to interject as and when you want. Feel free to meander, change the topic of conversation. But hopefully you will give each other a chance to speak. Don't talk over each other. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Except for D&W, speak over him only.
But what's happened to Joseph? Because I was telling him about my take on.
Who's Objective? Say hello, and what brought you to the chat today?
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the kind greeting. Yeah, I just recently found this channel. I find it to be quite fascinating. I recently started my own channel on YouTube, trying to get people to come together to have polite conversations about things they might disagree with. And I just find that the way that you guys are doing things here is really, really interesting. And I'm really, really impressed. But you guys were talking about something that really caught my attention. And I just had a couple of clarifying questions, if you don't mind me asking.
No, I mean, that's why you're here. Go ahead, ask. We have someone else coming onto the show, though. Hold that. I just want to say hi to Black Man is Fair, but Objective Ethics was about to ask a question.
Okay, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. So first of all, I'm an agnostic. So some of the stuff you're talking about seems pretty far out there to me, but I'm definitely not going to tell you that you're wrong, because as far as I know, there's a 50-50 chance what you guys are saying could be right. And so I just kind of curious, because I do, even though I'm an agnostic, I believe in objective morality. And in my studies on ethics and morality and philosophy, the idea of the soul has been coming up quite a bit. And when you study, like virtue ethics, the idea of our decisions being essentially like a record of our decisions and our interactions with people kind of gets marked down into your soul, or recorded on the soul, for maybe a better way of putting it. And I'm not saying I necessarily believe this, but it is a very interesting thought. And if that's true, then the purpose of life would be basically to learn to live a virtuous life. And then it brings reincarnation into the picture, because it's impossible for a person in just one lifetime to learn how to live a perfectly virtuous life. So it would require reincarnation, coming back and continuing to learn to develop the virtues. And I'm just curious as to what you guys might think about that.
Well,
I think it aligns with Hindu teachings, but I'm going to let Chickpea talk.
Well, virtuous life. I think to live a virtuous life, speak for myself, is literally impossible. Speak for myself, I think, because life on this planet is so brutal and hard, it's almost impossible to be totally virtuous, in my opinion. That's what I think. But then I don't have a good word to say for this planet anymore, and I don't have one. I don't have one. But I don't think it's possible to lead a virtuous life on this planet by simple virtue of the fact, because when we're born, you do know, don't you, that when we're born, our first 3 years of life are totally dependent on our updragging with our parents. And so anything you learn in that 3 years is completely wiped out. You can't go to hypnotists and crawl it back. You can't deal with it. It's there. It's ingrained in your DNA, in your whole being. So I can't see how one could be 100% virtuous if one hasn't got 100% access to one's entire psyche. That's just my opinion.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much for sharing that, sister. I think that that makes a lot of sense. I think to live a perfectly virtuous life would be extremely difficult, if not impossible. I'd have to agree with you there. The virtues, I mean, there's not when I'm talking about virtues, obviously wisdom would be considered the fundamental virtue. And then every other virtue that can be attained, we might look to like Aristotelian concepts for the golden mean. And that's how we understand what the virtues are. So like the virtue of courage, for example, is that perfect place in between recklessness and fear. This is how we attain courage. So there's like a golden mean to every moral action. And I do agree with you that to live a perfectly virtuous life would be extremely difficult if we were starting out that way. That was the goal to begin with. But by the end of a lifetime, I'm wondering, after living many lifetimes, because we do have a predisposition. I do discussions on my channel. I'm getting ready to do a video about free will, for example, and what you said about the first 3 years of your life. I think you said 3 years, not 3 months, right?
3 years. Yeah, 3
years. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so you're absolutely right that we do seem to be a product of our environment.
Yeah.
But if reincarnation, and again, I'm saying if, I'm not saying I necessarily believe this is true, but it is very fascinating for me to mull over. If reincarnation was a thing, then the energy, or lack of better word, I don't know what you guys call it. I should ask you, is it a form of energy that your soul continues on, or is there any kind of like substance that we might be able to point our finger at and call it? Because it's obviously not matter, right? It's not physical matter.
The soul not matter. The soul is just like our brains, our thoughts, and our sight and our soul exists outside the physical body. I know that to be so because I've out of body, so I know that is to be so. But another thing, objective about being virtuous, it is impossible, because I don't know if you know this or not, but if you pay someone to carry out an act on your behalf, that is tantamount to carrying out that act yourself. You do know that, yeah?
I would agree to a certain degree that there's
there's a certain degree of responsibility. Even the law, our corrupt legal system recognizes that. So how can we live in a world where children are exploited in places like the Gambia and the Congo and everything to bring us our cheap phones? And let's not forget the 92 billion animals in the factory farms and slaughterhouses that we just gorge our way through. Now, if you pay someone, if you buy those goods, you're as guilty as the person selling them or carrying out the act. And that is legally even recognized. So
they should let people hunt again, then, to get their meat. Let people hunt again to get meat or something. But I don't think we can, always get into veganism. So I was going to, more talk about their
I'm a vegan, so I bring this subject up.
That's a great subject, but I think we've kind of, beat that dead horse a few times.
No. Well, not for me. He asked me. I'm just saying. Okay, right. If
we ground it up, and it's in the kibble now, and we feed it to the cats because you have cats. We already had that. We were going around the circle.
I'm just guilty as the worst. I think, but all right. If you buy your mobile phone, when you buy a mobile phone, those minerals have been dug up by children 5-6 years old in the Congo. It's slavery. So when we buy anything, we are just as guilty as the person forcing that upon those children, and that's a sad, brutal reality about life on this planet.
Well, they have that old depiction of one of the angels weighing a feather or whatever it is, and it comes from the ancient Egyptian is the Mot god is the scale thing where they measure your soul against the feather, and that's like you give up everything on this earth when you go on, and that's what gets you to the the better afterlife that doesn't bring you back here. I think where there's a land in between where there is something they've built themselves or they know about in their afterlife, and that's what they got all the boats and the costumes for.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, sister. Yeah, brother, you're touching on actually one of my favorite religious traditions. Even though I'm not a religious person myself, I'm not an anti-theist at all. In fact, we do discussions on my channel about religion sometimes. And in Egyptian mythology, just like you're saying, your heart, actually not your soul, but your heart technically is weighed against the Mot's feather, and Mot's feather represents truth and justice. If your heart balances with truth and justice, then you're allowed to go on to the afterlife. Otherwise, you're actually destroyed forever. But that's a beautiful idea because it gives accountability for your actions as opposed to simply your beliefs, which I think is where the Abrahamic faiths really fall flat, in my opinion. Just believing in the right God gets you into heaven. your actions and virtues don't really seem to play as much of a role. So I think that's
yeah.
I really like that Egyptian
I'm
analogy.
religious. I'm semi-religious, not super religious, but I'm more spiritual. Meaning, I believe a personal relation with what I found through books, through knowledge. It's a personal relation, and I've got some of that information through books and knowledge, but a lot of that is very personal. It's how I felt, about God or religion or the universe affects me, and I don't need to take anyone's word for it. I just felt it, and it's like I did read some of the Bible. I do read a lot of religious other books. I have been to temples and whatnot, but I'm not any specific religion exactly.
And you mentioned, I think, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, I thought I heard you mention something about the Bhagavad Gita. So if that's true, you're obviously familiar with some of the Vedic scriptures and stuff. And if that's the case, I think there's a lot of beautiful stuff in there as well. I mean, I do think the reason I'm not an anti-theist, I mean, I don't want to derail this conversation into religion, but since we're talking about this particularly, the reason I'm not an anti-theist is because I see there's a particular value for a lot of people in holding on to certain religious beliefs. I know people who got off of drugs and alcohol because of their beliefs in a God. I know people who have overcome personal trauma because of their beliefs in a particular religious system or God. And, we know that religious organizations are responsible for like 80, maybe even 85% of all the humanitarian aid when it comes to worldwide, not. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things you could say about religion. I don't buy into the stories because I think there's just too much lack of evidence, and there's too many stories that they claim to be true that we know for a fact weren't, at least in this world. Like there was no global flood, for example. I could go on and on, but I do think there is a lot of beautiful things that you could glean from religious beliefs.
Why don't you believe in the global flood? Have you ever flown the Sahara Desert?
I haven't flown the Sahara Desert, but I don't know if you can see my profile picture or not, but I'm riding a kayak, an innovative kayak stand-up paddleboard. I'm actually a boat manufacturer, and I invented a new type of hull. I've got 2 patents. I'm licensed by the U.S. Coast Guard to build boats. So not only have I studied geology and biology and there's a number of different fields of science that have debunked the flood myth, but as a boat manufacturer myself, I know for a fact there was no wooden boat that held a bunch of animals, food, and fresh water for a year and kept everybody alive. So you could talk about an allegorical flood or maybe something like a local flood. And having studied religion formally in college and undergraduate and also at Bible seminary, I know that story was gleaned, the Noah's flood story was gleaned from the Enuma Elish.
Sumerian.
And
Usha
exactly.
Epshet or something is the guy's name. It's like Usha Sheps or something. Yeah, the guy that built the round boat.
Yep, exactly. Utnapishtim, some people say. Exactly right. So anyway, so there may have been some kind of local flooding. I have no doubt about that. If you look at the Mesopotamia, the land between the 2 rivers, this is a flood plain. This is where these flood narratives started. It flooded every year. In fact, they needed that flood. The Sumerians, all the way through the Egyptians, they needed that floodplain in order to develop to re-fertilize the soil that they were using to build their, to plant their crops. So the floods were a major part of that society. And so it makes sense that they would have, these flood stories. But as far as a global flood, there's just too much evidence against it. So, I mean, I could go on about like I said, the geological strata layers. I could go on about the fossil records and all these other things. But just as a boat manufacturer, I know for a fact, I don't have to rely on other people's information. I know boats and I know boat building, and I know there was no massive wooden boat in particular, that survived this crazy world global flood and stored animals and fresh water and food.
Yeah.
I just know for that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, it didn't happen, obviously. But if you fly over the Sahara, you can see where the sea was once. You could the waves, the formations of waves when you fly over, you can actually see the formation still. It's weird. So, yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak, make it seem like I'm speaking about something I don't know, because I'll be honest, I have not flown over the Sahara Desert. I do know that most of the land masses that we are looking at were previously underwater at one point. This is another way we know the flood didn't happen globally, because the tectonic plate movement is what created the mountains that we have right now. And some of the biblical literalists or flood proponents will say, well, there's fossils, there's these sea creature fossils up on the tops of the mountains. It's like, yeah, because those mountains were underwater when those animals were fossilized. That's, so it's, I mean, it makes perfect sense. But I don't know about the Sahara Desert. It seems to me, I don't know. And I just as a friendly pushback, isn't this, are you talking about the design, so to speak, the geometric shapes of the way the sand?
When you, the way the sand, when you look down on it from a plane, the way the sand is formed, it's like flying over the sea, except, of course, it's not the sea because it's golden color, but you can actually see that once there would have been water there. You can actually see it. And I've lived in the Middle East, and I lived in Yemen for quite a while. And way inland in Yemen, you used to find shells everywhere where the sea had been right inside the country. Weird. Sorry, I don't travel a lot now, as young.
Okay. Yeah.
They say the Nile used to run east-west, but that was, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of years ago. I'm not an expert on that. And then civilization, you don't have long ones without having some floodwater or something to manipulate the soil, because you can't keep farming the same soil. That's why most early civilizations kept moving around, because they were over farming their own soil until they found floodplains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's a good point. The geography has changed so much because, this planet is 4.5 billion years old, right? And so these land masses have had a lot of time. Once the land masses actually finally formed, because clearly it took a long time for that to happen, initially with the accretion and stuff forming the planet, then you have to form the land masses, then you've got to bring the water to the planet. I think the asteroids is the most widely accepted. So there's a lot of development that happens, but at some point then these land masses are forming. I believe they have the Pangea concept where it was a supercontinent and then it broke up in different pieces and stuff. So there was a lot of movement and a lot of change over, I mean, even 1,000 years is a long time, but when you start getting into hundreds of thousands, millions of years, then you start getting into billions of years, so much has changed. But my question, I apologize because I feel like I kind of derailed from the what you guys were talking about, and I was really interested in hearing, and you did kind of touch on the one question I had when I was asking if this soul or this spirit that we basically goes on after we die, is this some type of an energy, right? You mentioned something like transcendental concepts, which I'm not a materialist, I'm a naturalist. So I actually do believe that there are transcendental properties in the natural universe. I think when we look at qualia, like, qualia, obviously, you guys seem very intelligent, I'm sure but just for the audience, what does it feel like to sit next to a warm fire? The qualia of something. It's not just the heat that the fire produces. There's this emotional, this internal feeling, the redness of red, type of a thing. You know what I mean? So at any rate, I was just curious, is this a type of transcendental thing? Would you consider this to be a type of energy ultimately, or like something that could be considered physical, even though it's not mass, like electromagnetic energy or massless particles or something of that nature?
I mean, I think so. I think Thoth, the speed of thought, are all connected. So it's like the Egyptian, Thoth, and then the ancient Greeks had, Hermes and stuff like that. So it's just like, to me, it was, transference of thought and receiving things is its own science that we just haven't sorted out yet. And I think what we translate as angels talking to people has always been happening, and it wasn't always the same angels that we, ordained in the Bible. So who was it? So that's what, has me thinking things are a way bigger spectrum than one religion, is when these things are prevalent before the religions that people were talking to, quote unquote, angels.
That does make a lot of sense. I agree with you to a certain degree. And my feeling about religion is if one of them is true, or at least has an element of truth to it, then they all have to have an element of truth to it. I don't think any one of these stories I've ever heard about, and I've studied quite a few religions over the last 30 years, and I don't think any one single religion has the answers. But when the sister mentioned something about coming back to this world and how it would be impossible to live a virtuous life in this existence, I think, there's a lot to be said for that, because, how the environment does shape so much of our decision-making processes. And again, when you get into the free will concept, but what if, this universe is so massive, and let's just set aside the fact that there might be multiverses, or, I'm not pushing that narrative, but there is a possibility there might even be multiple universes. But even just this universe that we're in right now, we haven't even explored, like, I don't think 1% of the entire universe. It is so massive. So if we're coming back into different reincarnations, would it be possible if we strive for virtue, let's say we die and we have attained a really complete understanding of even one of the virtues, right? When we come back to our next life, is it possible that we could be born on a planet that's completely on the other side of the universe, where the environment is more predestined to, be aligned with those more virtuous lives? It's not this particular planet.
But you're in a different
how
time.
does that factor into this?
Yeah, or you're differently in time. I think you can reincarnate in the past. It's not linear.
Horror story.
No, I agree with you, brother, because I actually believe in B theory of time. I don't know if you're familiar with that. A theory versus B theory. Again, I guess just for the audience. So A theory of time is what most of us tend to think of, that the past is inaccessible. The future hasn't happened yet. All we have is this moment right now. But B theory of time states that the past, present, and future are all in existence concurrently. We're just observing a particular moment in time. And I do think that's true. I think there's a lot of evidence in physics, and I could go into the whole B theory of time. That's a conversation for another time, maybe. But if anybody wants to talk about that, it's a fascinating thing. Maybe check out my channel. I'm going to do a video on that in the near future as well. But if we do say that, let's just accept for the sake of argument that the B theory of time is correct, then your example of reincarnating into the past is perfectly reasonable. And this B theory of time, keep in mind, it does not violate any of the laws of physics. So a lot of people think like entropy and evolution and stuff, it would negate a B theory of time theory, but it doesn't actually. It works within all of that, because we're simply demarcating particular moments in a fabric of time. We're not saying that they can't, that the past, present, or future cannot all exist simultaneously. It does not refute, one does not refute the other. So if we did reincarnate into the past, not only could we do it in the past, but could we also do it, relocate when we come back into another life?
A horror story. That sounds vile. That's really that's really depressing to hear. Because you know what gets me about life is, okay, now I know for a fact that we can exist outside our meat bags. I know that for a fact. So why are we forced into meat bags? Because this planet is just dog eat dog till we
It was needed for something. It's a cycle for a form that doesn't need the meat bag, though.
Well, actually, Zachariah Sitchin, I think there might be truth in what he says, that we are actually some kind of slave race that were being trapped inside these meat bags to dig for gold or whatever. I don't know, because we can exist outside. I know so because I've done it. So you're trapped inside a meat bag in a world that is dog eat dog, from the tiniest organism, to the biggest creatures, and it's all killing.
Whoa, boys, got a little hot there.
What?
Nothing. Continue. I was saying, got hot about the organism.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. Even the tiniest it's all dog eat dog, killing, from the tiniest little thing to the king of the jungle, and it's all killing, when in fact we can exist outside the meat bag. We could, in theory, just exist in the light of the sun. We don't need a body. I know so because I've had out-of-body experience, so I know it. We don't need.
Yeah, I took enough synthetic liquid mescaline, and I had a really long, uncomfortable out-of-body experience.
I loved it, and I didn't want to come back in. I don't want to be in meat bags. I hate this damn thing. Wait till you get older, organic, and it starts becoming arthritic. You experience nothing yet. Nothing.
Then I had a few controlled environment ones that were much more humble, but also very cool and interesting. And there's it's called galantamine. It's you don't need a prescription. It's called galantamine. It's from the snowdrop flower. Yeah. And it really helps if you can get to that meditative state to have a out-of-body experience. Like if you lay in bed but just can't sleep, that's it. When you swear you don't know if you're asleep or not, that is the state you need. And they try to get that in meditation, but you can achieve it naturally if you're one of those people that you don't know if you're quite asleep sometimes when you lay in bed. Like you felt like you've been laying there for a long time, but you don't know when time has passed. That's the state you need to get into that right meditation to have the out-of-body that I noticed on the snowdrop. Yeah. I'm going to dial out and let anybody else talk.
Mine was under surgery. I came out and they were pottering around my body, and I came out just wandered, just floated around the room. But my brain was still functioning, and I could still see, and my soul was with me. So but I just find people talk about leading the perfect life on this planet Earth. I don't think it's possible because it's been designed. It's a murderous place, in my opinion. Absolutely murderous. Animals murdering each other, us murdering animals, us murdering each other. There's just no bloody end to it. We've just seen 80 good years. And I think they're coming to an end, personally. I believe there's going to be World War III soon. Can't wait. And then the Archons are going to have a lovely big loosh party on our misery. That's what I believe. Do you like the sound of that?
It sounds delightful. Are there going to be hors d'oeuvres, or should I order pizza?
No, you're going to be part of the loosh. You are the loosh. Us humans are the loosh.
I'll save a couple coin for some pizza for everybody, okay? Everybody in the chat, we're getting pizza when this happens. We're getting down in the bunker, and we're just watching it shake for a little while, and we'll pop up for all the smoke and rubble. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. The do-over will be better.
You don't believe that the Archons feast on our misery, then? You don't believe that?
No. I think humanity, like when you see how people act after a storm, I think people can come to friggin' together. People do get heated over certain things in politics and stuff, but if it's not political and it's a natural disaster, people come together quickly. And I think people cannot be divided over war because of that, meaning they can't, in Western communities, they can't fight each other and then go home and be neighbors and not care for each other's injuries as well. So there's an issue there with having civil unrest in our countries, that our people, they also take care of the disaster issues in their neighborhoods. So we can't divide neighborhoods because these people will be taking care of each other's injured. And that doesn't make sense for politics. So we have an issue with ever having a full civil thing. So they just have to say trigger words on certain shows to get people to go over the edge, to cause a chain reaction with someone does something with a boomstick. And then we have the news stories.
I tell you, Organic, us humans got a horrible... Do you know the story of the Battle of the Somme? What actually happened as opposed to what you read in the history books?
Do we have someone back on the show? Hello?
There's Joseph back.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm back, guys. I had to run into a store. I'm going to have a visit with my mother today, so I had to run into a store.
Did you steal us any liquor? We like the good stuff.
No, I haven't, not really a drinker anymore. Kind of gave that up.
Somebody in the chat might be. Somebody in the chat might be. I don't imbibe very often, unless I'm hanging out at the strip club.
So you're Jewish, Joseph?
Loosen up a little bit.
No, it's just the name. It's
just the name. No. Jewish name, yeah.
No, it's my great grandfather married a Scottish English, and that's it. And then the name just.
Oh wow.
They no other Jews in the bloodline besides my great grandfather.
All right.
But
it has to be on your mother's side. I'm sorry. You don't get to go to the mutual sniggle.
Right. Yeah. So nothing at all on my mother's side. But Chickpea, you did bring up the loosh, and I think one reason I think all that Robert Monroe and his institute could be a psyop is because he tries to justify why loosh is necessary. And
why is it to justify it?
Yeah, well, he says that's what the universe runs off of, or this realm. Yes. I'm not going to go into detail. I don't have much time.
It's what the Gnostics believe. Yes.
But he tries to justify that it is for some kind of reason that we just can't understand, and it just has to be done. And he, I believe in one of his books, in one of the chapters that I mentioned, that Jordan Crowder on YouTube's been reading, is he goes, "Oh, I finally understand why it's necessary." So a lot of people think maybe it's a psyop to get us to be like, well, yeah, there is this loosh thing, but I guess it's kind of necessary, and we just don't understand it until maybe we get to the astral, or we get, here in this realm, we just don't get it. So that's another reason why I think some of these new agey people like Robert Monroe and Tom Campbell could possibly be Decepticon kind of psyops. I'm not saying for sure, but I think it's a deeper discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah. I find it all very scary, I must admit. I mean, shall I tell you something, Joseph? Every night if I go to sleep,
I don't think it's a psyop, but that's just a wild guess. But I think most things are, meaning how media is set up, how the news stories are set up. They only feed us what they want us to consume to brainwash us in general. So if it's out there in mainstream feed, it's usually bad for you, just like fast food. So it's just like if you had to go out and seek it, like the Robert Monroe stuff, I would think it's a little more tasteful. But that's as much as I'll say, I think.
As I was saying, Joseph, every night if I go to sleep, I fantasize about going into the dark. You know that the Gnostics, because I believe in Gnosticism, and Gnostics talk about the tunnel of light. Go down the tunnel of light and basically end up being reincarnated. Because I don't want another little stint on this planet. I've had it. And I have to every night, and it's terrifying, you know, because I am terrified. Terrified of going into something I don't even know yet. Because I really do believe it. I'm not the only one.
Maybe DNW, I think Chickpea needs to do some 5-MeO DMT, or ayahuasca, you have all the purging and kind of not fun stuff, but maybe some of that 5-MeO DMT could kind of give you some insights.
What's that?
Frog venom.
Well,
it's a special crystal that can take you to another dimension and show you, what places look like without your body, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I'd love to know that.
See, I've done the regular DMT, guys, and it's cool, but I don't think it's that amazing. But I've heard the 5-MeO, the other kind of DMT that's a little harder to find, is more transformational. Even Mike Tyson, Chickpea, just put in Mike Tyson DMT in YouTube, and you'll see him. I mean, if it could help him, he was all screwed up and abused, and you can imagine his life. It could be, and it's a quick trip. It's only 10 to 12 minutes. No purging.
Trying to get a buzz off of it. We don't get none that last hit.
But I'll tell you something. Here in the UK, here in the UK, it's very, very hard to get. I don't know where people get their drugs from. It's a mystery to me. Absolute mystery.
Maybe you'll have to go to Bali, take a little vacation, go there or something like that.
I thought I was going to say something like that. Yes.
Or maybe
wherever the fish band likes play. If it sounds like the band is like a jam band, find out where the jam bands are. Okay, go out to where the people are like hanging out near the buses. Their hair will be dreaded, many colors. They'll be wearing loose clothes. They'll be frying food that is vegetarian, and be like, "You got any Deemsters?"
Oh, what about the Dutch, the Amsterdam? I'm sure you can get it there.
I come from Holland. Yeah, that's where I come from. I come from Rotterdam, though. Yeah, it's mostly just you can get drugs, but it's mostly just marijuana and stuff for smoking. I don't know much about the drug. I've never actually taken drugs. I have to admit, I've never done it.
Smell like patchouli, have a lot of dreads, and they listen to jam bands.
But what's better about
they probably have a pet cactus with a name.
I would say that my experience that I've done both, when I was younger, I took a lot of drugs, and as I did more meditating on just self-healing throughout my life and turning my life around, that by my experience anyway, if you become really proficient at meditation, you can actually achieve the same you can with drugs. I know it's more difficult. You got to put the work in, because with the drugs, you could just pop, smoke or inject or drink or do whatever you're going to do, and I'm not a proponent of those things. I'm not against it for you people. I myself
raise your glass, everybody cheers, even if it's milk or orange juice.
Sure, absolutely. So I do think that but again, like I said, through meditation you can achieve a lot of these things. But you folks mentioned already when we were talking about the reincarnation that you've already achieved some of these out-of-body experiences, and I was just really curious about some of the questions. You said you don't want to come back to this world, but having achieved an out-of-body experience, you must think that this isn't your first incarnation. Am I correct with that?
It's not. No, I've been here before. I know I have, because when I was a little girl, I could knit and sew and crochet before I was taught. So I know I have.
Fair enough. So when you said you've been here before, do you mean you've been in a body before, or actually here on this planet specifically? And is it this planet the only planet that you've ever existed on in a physical form?
I don't know. Oh, you know what? I did want to go and see a hypnotherapist to find all this out. but I'm scared in case I become so upset by everything that it pushed me over the edge, just like the whole thing with the fetus thing pushed me over the edge. Because I did want to go and see someone about it, but I'm too scared. It terrifies me.
Fair enough. No, I appreciate you letting me ask these personal questions because I'm really not meaning to be rude or, get into your personal life. It just seemed like you guys were discussing that. So, Organic, do you mention some things about some experiences? I thought, do you have any answers to those questions about have you existed in another form before or another plane, another planet?
I've existed before as a female, and I know I have because I could do these weird little things since my earliest memories that no one taught me. I just do it. So obviously, I was probably a little slave in some Victorian household somewhere. Wouldn't surprise me.
Definitely a silent movie showgirl. Give her credit.
Stop making fun of me. But I think most of us have lived before. It's very common. People do talk about it, but it all gets dissed. Oh, don't be so stupid, we say to our children. Well, people say to their children when children talk about it. And they do.
No, I appreciate that. What we have a lot of debates, a lot of times about politics or religion on other people's channels. I've had some discussions on my channel, and one of the things I don't do is we talked about the global flood, right? The myth, and I will absolutely debate something like that. I debate morality issues when it comes to certain religious claims. I do formal debates on that, but what I do not do is discredit people's personal experiences. If somebody says they have had a personal experience or a spiritual experience or a miraculous experience, that's for them. That's their journey, and I'm not going to try and discredit them or I feel that would be very disrespectful. It may not necessarily move the needle for me, I'll be honest with you, but maybe I'll hear something someday that will. And I do think that some of the things you guys have said here about reincarnation is very interesting to me because, as I mentioned before, in my studies about ethics and virtue ethics, I've come across certain philosophical models that do discuss the soul. And I find it to be a very interesting concept when we look at what virtue really, how to attain virtue, what a long journey it would be, because like the sister said, to live a perfectly virtuous life in one go around does seem impossible. I don't like to use the word impossible for anything, but yeah, it's very difficult, if not impossible. So it would require multiple existences. But my understanding, having studied some of the Eastern religions, like I don't know if you're familiar with Ramana Yogananda and the Self-Realization Fellowship, for example, but when they talk about reincarnation, we begin to shape the soul according to this belief system. We begin to shape the soul through our experiences on one particular life. So let's just use this life as an easy example. After this life is over, this physical life, the soul would then continue on and almost with the analogy the brother was using with Mott's feather, right? Our choices are written down on our heart or on our soul. That predetermines, if you will, where we go into the next existence. And so it's possible to exist in a world that's actually far worse than this one, believe it or not. And I think this might be where concepts of hell can come into play. Some people say this is hell that we're living right now. I've heard other religious ideas where we're actually living in heaven and hell on earth because people's experiences on this planet can be vastly different. The sister was talking about starving children. I know people who are extremely affluent who have so much money they can take a bath in it, and you know what I mean. Like that their life experience is so vastly different than that of a person who can't even put food on the plate, doesn't have shelter. So this world could be heaven or hell if we want to use that terminology. So it could very well just be happening in this one world, but because of what I said before about the universe being so incredibly vast, there could be a planet on the other side of the Milky Way we wouldn't even have access to, that could be more of a utopia than what we're experiencing now. And it would be our soul, according to these religions. And I'm not trying to preach you guys because I'm not saying I even believe this. It's just something I've studied. According to these religions that talk about reincarnation, our soul would naturally go to the next existence. That would be better if we tried to live a more virtuous life. The soul had more virtuous energy, I guess would be the way to put it, written onto it or encoded into it. Maybe it would naturally go, just like a fish doesn't try to fly and a bird doesn't try to swim because it naturally needs to live within its environment. The soul would naturally reincarnate into a better or worse or even similar existence, depending on the progress or digression of our virtue. Does
So
that
for
make
the
any
crowd,
sense at all?
the honeys get less fly, and the robes become darker, less transparent, thicker, and less revealing. All right, continue.
No, I think that's a really good way of putting it more succinctly than what I did, because I don't really follow these religions, so I'm really just kind of quoting from different various religious texts or books or authors that I've read. And I'm just curious because you guys have talked about out of body experiences and reincarnation, and I'm just wondering if you've had any access to a different, or if you at least feel like you've had any access previously to a different existence that was either better or worse, or maybe located in a different plane, something of that nature, a different planet even.
I don't see it. Like I said, I'd like to go see him, a therapist, but I daren't because I'm scared because I discover something so upsetting. And I've got no one in life anymore. I'm completely on my own. I've got my neighbours and stuff, but I've got nobody I can go to say, give me a hug because I've been upset. So I'm too scared to do it. And that's the truth. Just too frightened in case I get upset. I know it sounds insane.
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, one of the things I might just offer to you as a brother is when you study someone like a Nietzsche, for example, and start talking about nihilism and how, once you leave your particular religious belief, in particular the Abrahamic belief, you lose your belief in God, then what you do is you lose a purpose, because most religious people believe that without God, there can be no purpose in life.
Yes.
And so, but what Nietzsche said is that this is actually not the end. This is the beginning of the journey. It's not the end of the journey. This is really the beginning, because once you realize that there's no external purpose that's driving you, you start to make your own purpose in life. And then once you get to this point, then you realize you can become more of what he called the Uberman, and we often translate it as like Superman, so that you get to this point where you are so elevated spiritually that you realize that the beauty of life is in the journey and in the experience itself, which means having a healthy appreciation for both the good times and the bad times. If that's once you can learn to embrace, and this also, you can see this like in Taoism, for example, once you would learn to embrace the experience itself, don't get too high with the good times, don't get too low with the bad times, but value the journey for what it is. This is how you attain peace. And
guys,
this
go
is
ahead and go to the
Buddhism,
champagne room. This is a reminder: champagne room is open.
No, I'm afraid I'm a terrible pessimist. Plus, I used to belong to the animal rights movement, and I look at what we do to the creature, this universe, this world that I live in, and I don't. It just takes my whole. It's taken my whole life over. Always since I was a little girl, it started. I've always been the same. All I see is this massacre, daily massacre. Yes, I'm a bit of a handful. I have to admit it. I'm a miserable old bag. I admit I'm on 60 mgs of Seroxat every day, plus I'm on codeine. I'm a miserable old bag. I am. That's why I come here. If I was happy, I wouldn't come here, would I?
Oh, you just need us, and you need some vitamin D. Make sure you get some sunshine, and keep petting those cats. Keep petting those cats. Go get a new kitten. Go get a new fresh kitten.
I've already got 7.
This is a talk show. If you would like to join the conversation, please feel welcome to come on and talk right now. The link is available in the live chat on YouTube. This is a talk show. If you would like to join the conversation,
I hear extra
please
voices.
feel welcome
Y'all hear
to come
that?
on and talk right now. The
Do you
link is
come
available
on
in the
voices?
live chat on YouTube. This is a
Is it the
talk show.
background feed? It's like, come on, click the button. Hello, say hi to the chat. Hi, the chat. Y'all have any questions? Metaphysical, religious, superficial, non-superficial, things that might offend other channels, but we could probably answer for you. Go ahead and put them in there. We'll put our minds together for you.
Organic. D&W used to be a real old misery guts when I first met him. Now
we got a fresh.
some sort of high all the time.
It's the archons. Which archons exactly? The archangels, the Enochian stuff, or something else? John D, or are we talking something else? What do you call the archons?
Who, me?
Yeah, what do you call the archons?
What do I call
Chickpea?
the
Yeah, who are the archons to you, Chickpea?
What do you mean? What do I call the archons? I don't know all their names, but
Yeah,
I
what
believe in
does that
Gnosticism.
word mean to you? Yeah, just what does that mean?
Well, they say that when you go into the light, you meet all these beings, the archons, and all the rest of them, and they start the whole give you a little sort of trial by jury type of thing.
Guys, keep an eye on the live chat. Objective ethics. There's a question for you there from Loho, who says they'd like your thoughts on Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. By the way, anybody watching, click on the link. We're live. This is the Finding Gnosis show on YouTube. Come on us and join the conversation. We're live on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. So yeah, look us up on YouTube if you're watching on the other platforms. And you'll find the link there to come on and talk. So come on and talk.
Have you finished? Thank you. As I was saying, organic. They talk about the tunnel of light. They talk about the dark. So if you go to the tunnel of light after you've been through the checkpoint, etc., the whole process starts again. You go through a sort of little court case, and then
But we give you a free. Never mind.
What?
You get a free red lightsaber when you go to the dark side. Continue.
Red lightsaber. What's that? A red lightsaber. What's that? Hello. What's a free red?
Star Wars. Darth Vader carries a red light. He wants Luke to go to the dark side.
I haven't watched, but they do say. Well, according to David Icke, and I read his books. I suppose that's where I get all my rubbish from.
Chickpea's a reader of David Icke, guys.
Stop it.
Continue. Go ahead.
I read him too. Star Wars, okay, right.
I read David Icke as well.
Yeah. Well, he says to not go into the light, go into the dark, because no one's ever come back from the dark, only from the light. So that's how they know about it. And I don't know. I can't remember being there. I'm only going by what I've read in silly books. But it seems quite feasible to me. Because, I mean, this universe is a shithole. And nothing surprises me. I'm sorry, if I was happy clappy, I wouldn't come here, would I? I'd be watching something happy clappy on YouTube. I'm just saying.
Well, I think to address what the person was asking about.
What?
Sorry, continue.
Oh, yeah. I just thought maybe I should address just really quickly what the question was about the eternal recurrence. And I'm not an expert in Nietzsche, but my rudimentary understanding is this is basically what I was talking about with the if the soul is continuously recurring, and I do think, again, I'm not necessarily into the metaphysics of things. I find it fascinating, but I'm certainly not making any truth claims here. But I do think that the cosmological model that makes the most sense to me is the Big Bang, Big Bounce. So it's just constantly, the universe is constantly expanding and shrinking, much like a breathing kind of, not to anthropomorphize it too much, but, so if that's the case, then, this could lead credence to a model of some type of eternal soul or something that comes back each time because the universe is continuing to re-express itself, if I may. Perhaps consciousness being fundamental would play a part in that if that model were actually true. And again, I'm not making any truth claims here. I'm just throwing different ideas I've been exposed to.
Breath of Brahma? Is that the same?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is exactly how the Hindus would put that. Exactly right. The Brahman is the role that the soul plays in the ultimate substance of truth. The Taoists would call it the way, but I do believe in this constant or cosmological model makes the most sense, with this big bang, big crunch. And so if that's the case, the universe could be eternal. And if consciousness was fundamental, that would inherently make that eternal. And if consciousness is a necessary precondition for the existence of anything else, one just naturally leads to the other. It's a very interesting concept. And when Nietzsche, this eternal recurrence concept, and this is not Nietzsche's original idea. Obviously, this has been around. The Stoics talked about this, and they got this probably influenced from Eastern mythology or theologies or whatever that believed in reincarnation and eternal. Like you said, the Brahman, for example, from the Hindus is probably one of the oldest organized religions in the world. Could have easily come to the Stoics via the Silk Road trade routes. So these ideas were being exchanged long before Nietzsche ever came into the scene, but he kind of revived it. And his Brahman, his Uberman concept what I was mentioning to the sister, to try to give her a ray of hope, is that, if we could step back from the situation, step back for our emotions just long enough to realize that there is a certain beauty in the struggle, and we can use small examples to try and get our heads around this example, this idea. So I'm really big into exercise. I think exercising the body is extremely important for just overall mental health. Physical health is actually a very important part of mental health, believe it or not. So
yeah, I've got RA
when you exercise the body, fair enough. So when you exercise the body, you actually break the muscles down. You're actually tearing muscle fibers, and right, so that you can build them up and make them stronger.
I'm just a brain
What's
in a
that,
jar.
brother?
I'm just a brain in a lonely
Fair
jar.
enough. So if we're gonna throw our hands up and just run to solipsism,
horror movie, it's like the brain in a jar. That's how I feel some days. But
yeah, we could just throw our hands up at all of it and run to solipsism and say it's just my brain. It's not your brain actually, brother. It's my brain that's in the jar. You guys are just all.
I think it's weird how they all put us in digital prisons where we're all basically just talking to a wall, and we're like, can anybody hear me?
Could be. I think that's kind of the concept. That there's been a few different movies actually, but I think The Matrix is probably the most popular that people would be familiar with. We're all just plugged into the Matrix, right?
Yeah,
but anyway,
earlier was the prison with no walls, the THX 1138 thing, where everything's whited out. And the guy doesn't even know where he's going until he pops the manhole open. He's like never seen the sun.
Yeah, that's based off of Plato's The Cave, right? Where we're all just living in the cave. We're experiencing is the shadows on the wall.
And which I think is so similar to Socrates and Jesus. Like it's almost the retelling in different ways. They do have different twists on it for sure. Jesus has the parables, and Socrates doesn't. He goes on trial and basically isn't truly forced to drink the hemlock. He's like trying to take it as his badge of winning to lose the argument, to have them put him to death for what he said over his stance, so it's like that was semi self-afflicted more than the other ones, I think. But go on. Sorry.
No. I mean, we're definitely, because we really only know of Socrates because of Plato, because he was Plato's teacher. So we're definitely there's going to be some similarities. Plato diverged with his forms, and his cave analogy is divergent from Socrates, but we do get Socrates from Plato. So there's obviously a huge influence. And then of course, Aristotle is Plato's student. So there's really this thread that goes from Plato.
It was Alexander the Great's teacher, correct? Alexander the Great's teacher. And he died 1 year after Alexander. So Alexander died, I believe, in 323 BC, and then 322 for Aristotle. And these guys were all sequential in a period from about 400 BC. I think Socrates was 399 BC is when he passed. Go on.
And but all of this is interconnected. When you look at the Greco-Roman period, and you look at how the world had already shrunk between Asia and Asia Minor in particular, where like Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, First Temple into Second Temple Judaism, Greek mythology, all of these ideas kind of merged together into the Greco-Roman area. Alexander is a huge part of that. Obviously, the Silk Roads I mentioned earlier, they're part of this because you're talking about the 3rd century BCE, when they started really developing the Silk Road trade route, which brought not just goods and services, but ideas from the east to the west. So all of this is coming together, and you start to see the ideas kind of bleeding into each other. And Nietzsche, with this eternal recurrence that the gentleman in the chat was asking about, is just basically just kind of reimagining a very old idea. And I did divert too much with the cosmological model. I probably shouldn't have gone down that analogy, but it does seem like, with the sister, if we do embrace the journey, if we do recognize that it takes a certain amount of pain can lead to a certain amount of pleasure, and we could look at numerous examples in our lives of this. It's difficult to say, if you really want to look at it philosophically, can we really say that the pain is a bad thing? I mean, we want to say, of course, terrible pain and terrible struggle like poverty and starving and natural disasters, these are a terrible thing. But if it wasn't for the fact that the asteroid crashed into the planet 65 million years ago and just hit the reset button, we wouldn't even be here. Now, I know if you're a nihilist, ultimately you don't want to be here. You think this is terrible. Maybe you think that, fuck that goddamn asteroid, fuck everything. Now I have to live this terrible life, right, where we eat animals. But I think for the most of us, we actually want to live. Evolution is a guided process, so to speak, a naturally guided process where organisms want to reproduce. They take in energy and they want to survive. We have these survival instincts. So most of us, no matter what we might say, if we get thrown into a river and we can't swim, no matter how depressed we are, we're still going to try to struggle and try to get out of that water.
That's hormonal, Objective. That's all hormonal. You do know that. The urge to breed and everything is hormonal.
Survival of species, absolutely. But he's also saying it's a very small chance that we, as non-lizard and non-insect, became the #1 species on the planet through accidental behaviors of volcanoes and asteroid strikes and comet.
Exactly right. How terrible would it be if the asteroid wiped everything out? Well, for the dinosaurs, it was terrible, but for us, it was imperative. We wouldn't be here without this quote unquote terrible thing. So it just gives us a way to measure the good and the bad. And if we step back to the situation, put down our presuppositions, set aside our own emotional attachment to the ideas that we have, our idealistic ideas and our reactions to things that have happened, presuppositions, as I said, and we just take things for what they are at face value. Again, enjoy the journey, because you're on this roller coaster. You are not getting off unless you really choose to. And I do not like to talk like that because I don't want to encourage people to do bad things. But we're on this roller coaster. The best thing you can do is enjoy the ride.
You obviously don't like Schopenhauer very much.
Not what I've read, but
he's my favorite writer. You see, this is how different we are.
Very little.
Well, they invented the bar, guys, and music and dancing and the word self-inflicted. All right, continue.
But I'm just saying, I love the works of Emile Caron and Schopenhauer and David Benatar. They're all 3 miserable, grumpy guys, and I love them. And if Emile Caron was alive, I would get on a plane and go and find him. I love what he has to say. See, we're reading from totally different scripts, aren't we? Yes.
No, I'm going to credit you with this. And Schopenhauer is actually on my long list of philosophers to get into, so I'm going to bump him up the list.
You won't like him
because of this conversation.
You won't like him.
No, I don't. I have a very basic understanding of, because again, nihilism would be one of the things, but it's really beyond nihilism, because it's more of this. It's not. It's what was it? Existentialism maybe might be a better word for it for Schopenhauer, but. I think that a lot of these authors and a lot of these philosophers who talk about how miserable things.
What were you saying about them? Can't hear you. Objectives. Oh, but I can't hear what he was saying. Objective, I couldn't hear what you were saying about.
You lost your audio. Objective, can you check it and start over about 30 seconds ago?
I'm so sorry.
Right. I'm miking out for a second.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My phone started ringing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, my phone started ringing and it everything took a shit. So yeah, no, I do think that these people who have this terrible view and they communicate, oh, the world is such a bad place and stuff.
Yeah.
They probably do suffer from some depression and things of this nature.
Yeah, I've got that problem.
I have no doubt that's true.
Yes.
But I do think that a lot of it is just a feeling the need to express ourselves.
Yeah.
And that maybe, and again, I'm not throwing shade here, but maybe that just getting out that expression is like kind of a bit of a release. And so maybe at the end of the day, maybe we're not quite as convinced things are as bad as we say they are, but we have this emotional energy that we need an avenue, a way to express it.
Of course,
so like with a Schopenhauer, if he was really that, if he was that miserable, I don't think that he would take the time and energy to share his thoughts, to share with anybody, because he would be so self-absorbed.
No, you see, now you're wrong here, Objective, because now I come here to have a good old wine, so I'm sharing it all. You see, I tell everybody. I think
yes, absolutely.
Right.
But you've been very forthcoming and very honest and say that this is basically like your therapy session. nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So
how do you know that about me? You've been listening to what I'm saying.
Right, exactly. I've just been listening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit naughty, isn't it, really? I come here to offload all my negative thoughts about the universe. I do have positive thoughts. I love all the cats and plants. I kiss my plants, you see, so I'm not that bad. I kiss trees and plants and cats, and if I see a snail on the road, I carry it away to some grass. I'm not all bad. Yeah, I kiss trees. Hello. Hello, I said I kiss trees. Okay, there's no one here anymore.
No, I was just like, I realized I've been kind of dominating the conversation because you guys have really inspired me with a lot of the things you've been talking about, and I feel I should probably step back and let you guys continue.
Oh, we're here. We're here. I'm sorry. I just wasn't close to the mic. I have y'all on 2 devices here.
But objectives, I'm not all bad. Like I said, I kiss trees and I kiss my plants. And I kiss my cats. So I'm not all bad.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bit of balance there, you know. That life is a balance. There's a positive and there's a negative. Whether there's a reincarnation or not, I cannot speak on those things. You know, I don't see.
Well, there is.
I don't necessarily see it. But
we have to call it like it is. You got to handle these things. Some things with a Scottish broadsword, and there can only be one. You know what I mean?
Now, I do believe objectives that when you leave here, they get hold of you and they just recycle you into a new meat bag for another 70 years of wash, rinse, repeat. A life of making your masters richer and richer before you die.
So when you leave here, you use the word that they recycle you into a new meat bag. So who's they? I know earlier you mentioned kind of like this Nephilim. You didn't use the word Nephilim, but you mentioned the gentleman who really promotes this Nephilim.
The whole thing that you meet when you leave here.
And so are these physical beings? Are these like a highly evolved physical being that are in control of this?
I don't know what they are. Who knows what they are? I don't know what they are. I'm only going by what I've read in books. I don't know that much about them, but
okay.
You know, they yeah.
And then you use the phrase "until you die." So when you say that, are you meaning that ultimately your soul will not reincarnate at some point, like you will just cease to exist?
Your soul keeps reincarnating. That's the trouble. Your soul keeps reincarnating because it does. Your soul doesn't remember anything. Your soul is just your soul, isn't it? It's the brain that remembers. The soul, I don't know what the soul does. I can always feel mine. I don't know what it does. I know it's there. So I can feel it.
I had to let the cat in, guys.
What sort of a cat have you got?
The same ones I always have.
Let's see.
He walked away. It was the male coming in.
Let's see.
So I have the light gray tabby, and I have the torties.
How many torties have you got?
2. One fat one and one not fat one.
Oh, I've got 2 torties. I've got 2 Chickpea. Me and Chickpea, the cat you see there.
I'm drinking my ginger beer now, non-alcohol, just straight up ginger.
We were together for nearly 20 years, me and Chicks. I lost it almost 10 years ago now. But yeah, I've got 2 torties, 2 tabbies, 1 black cat, 1 little tuxedo.
It's cat time, guys.
Huh?
Those are wonderful cats.
Yes. All cats are wonderful. Cats are my favorite life form. And they are. I love cats. My first love was a cat, and my last love will be a cat. I love cats.
That's great. I'm glad it makes you happy, and something good about life. Being positive does help. I think it does help our outlook, and that helps our vibration, what we get in, what we put out, there is some kind of balance there.
No, I love my cats. God, they spoil little things.
For the whole thing, like the ripples in the whole pond. We add to that vibration. You want to add something good, like the love of cats.
Love of cats, but spoiled. They are so spoiled, my cats. You know, I spend more on their food and their medical treatment than I do on my own. They see the best doctors. I have to make do with the NHS. They get the best of everything, and I have to make do with the rubbish that's left. It's true, but I love them to bits. But chickpeas.
Yeah, you put the cats first. That's really good and kind of you. I hope they care and love you just as you love them, hon. I hope that they always hang out and are always coming back, no matter how lost they get in one of their cat episode adventures in the neighborhood.
Yeah, they're all with me. I'm surrounded by all 7 of them at the moment. Yeah, they're all indoors at the moment, all with me, just surrounding me. But Chickpea clawed away right into my soul, that little cat. And I still, every now and again, find myself praying to a God I don't even believe in to resurrect her. That's how mad it all is, because she's buried outside. And along with about 8 other cats, because I've lived it for a long time.
Yeah, you're thinking the wrong. That's a pet cemetery. That's not which god you worship. Okay, continue. That's a Stephen King book and some special dirt. That's some cursed dirt to bring back. Don't do it, children. Not good. No. Do not recommend, guys.
What?
Putting your pet in a cursed pet cemetery.
Oh, they're out in the garden.
Yeah, that's fine. You can put your pet in your garden, guys. Check your local laws and your compost. But yeah, that's probably fine.
I'm allowed to bury them. It's allowed.
Keep it on the hush to dig a hole.
I live in a flat.
Maybe big enough for a relative. All right, continue.
Hey, Dave, they're all here. But I love them to bits. But I love Chickpea like, I don't know, I worship the ground she walked on. She was just a gorgeous cat.
Do we have any other existential questions or about life, death, the hereafter, where we fit in the Thanaton?
I just have one more question, if I may. I don't want to divert from the cat conversation. Cats are great. I mean, and I can clearly see they're very important to the young
We love them. My cat's about to steal my chair. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah, just one more question. So when you guys are reincarnating, and I understand that you said that there's a lot of the stuff you don't know, you don't have access to that information. I really appreciate you just letting me ask you some questions because I find this idea to be quite fascinating. Could it be that you reincarnated into a different life form other than a person? Like, could you have been a plant or a cat or something, for example? Or is it always coming back as a person, a human being?
I've got no idea. But you don't learn to crochet when you're a cat or a plant. So I suspect in my last life, because I could crochet from my earliest memories, and my mother said she didn't understand how it could be that I could crochet because no one taught me. So I must have brought it from another life.
I think some of the cycles are human, but some of the cycles don't have to be human. That's what I believe. So I think it's you probably go through multiple ones. And I thought some people on their way to nirvana have to be a cow. That's why they don't eat beef. But continue, or I don't know if that's, I don't know if someone else wanted to answer that.
I'll tell you something weird, Organic. Now, I was from my earliest memories, when I was a little girl, before my mother married my English stepfather, meat wasn't an issue because it wasn't forced on me. Then she married this English squaddy, and all of a sudden meat became an issue because he was a meat eater. But I knew the truth about meat before being told it. I could already sense it. Something I wasn't happy about it, I've always been the same. I've been like all my life. I'm still here. I'm in my 70s now, still here. So it's, you can live without it. Yeah.
So
sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if I have time to get into the whole vegan thing. It is a conversation I wanted to do at some point because there's some interesting thoughts around veganism, and maybe I should couch that for later.
I'm not a vegetarian, guys. I don't eat a lot of meat, but I am not a vegetarian. But continue. I've tried to be in the past. I don't like to fight it or debate it myself because I know how strongly people feel about it. And I've made the mistake of ordering pepperoni pizza and people not being happy, whether it's religious or vegetarian needs. But continue.
Don't worry, I get the reverse, Organics. I get the reverse. Don't worry, it's I get the.
Well, I'm not here. Yeah, no, I'm not here to tell people how to live their lives. I see veganism the same way I see a strong religious belief or a political belief. But it's a social, one of the social beliefs that people hold on to, and it can be something divisive. As I mentioned, I set up my channel to try and have, conversations, difficult conversations with people, and always be respectful, because that's what I really want to promote, is just promote politeness, civility, and respect, and also to understand that we really need differences. I actually value the fact that we have different ideas. I think it's really important to have differences. If everybody agreed on everything, then the world would be very stagnant. We wouldn't make scientific progress, for one thing. I mean, take any scientific discovery that you want to. Let's say if we stopped with Newton and everybody just decided to agree, then Einstein's theory of relativity never would have come to be, right? So we can't agree on everything. Think about art and culture and all these different things. Things evolve over time and they change. And a part of that is pushing back on ideas. So having disagreements about things, having disagreements about veganism, for example, I think is healthy. It's just a matter of, are we able to be respectful of people that we don't agree with? That's really what I try to promote. So when you have these conversations about religion or veganism or politics, a lot of times the people get so emotional because they don't want to have their ideas challenged. It isn't about so much that they even believe whether they're right or wrong anymore. It becomes this defense of their position, take things very personally. Because when you tell someone, let's not talk about veganism because present company, let's just say a religious belief. You tell someone, oh, God can't exist, right? Like the hard atheist will say there is no God, right? Well, the theist, it isn't just that you're saying there is no God, but what you're really ultimately saying, without saying it, is that everything that they've built their entire life around is completely fabricated or false. And this is a blow to somebody emotionally as well as mentally. So we have to be very careful how we present these things, but also you have to be very
psychological construct. It's part of their psyche at that point. If they're raised religious, or it came to them to help them get off drugs or alcohol or whatever. That's why I think religion can be very good for people in certain ways, for sure. That's for sure. But the people that use it just use it usually to make money in some way or swindle. But continue.
No, you're right, brother. I think that there are harms, which is why I'm willing to have those discussions. Because as I mentioned when I first joined here, I don't try to deconvert people, because I do see there are benefits that people use religious, to certain benefits in society. I mentioned the drugs and alcohol. People overcome trauma. I mentioned that there's a lot of the significant majority of nonprofit efforts worldwide are actually done through religious organizations. So you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as that goes. But I do think that it's healthy to embrace what is true to the best of our knowledge. So get rid of the stuff like the anti-science people, the flat earthers, the people who deny evolution, the people who think that there was a global flood and Noah's rickety wooden zoo boat was floating around somewhere. That's just ridiculous. Get rid of that kind of stuff. Stop telling gay people they shouldn't get married. Get rid of the bigotry that comes from religious dogmas. That's the stuff that's harmful. But there can be good things about it, and which is why I think we should learn to have respectful conversations.
Common sense is good. 2 thumbs up for common sense. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Common sense is, Chris, good to see you, brother. And common sense is good. It's very valuable, but so is virtue, in my opinion. And again, even though I'm not a religious person, I do really speak out a lot about virtue. I think the virtues are very important, wisdom being the fundamental virtue. If we all would just seek to attain wisdom, I think we would be able to get along a lot better. I don't think that so much of these differences would be such a problem. But yeah, people do use religion as a weapon. The societies and governments use it. In fact, Marx talked about this. So many people have. Voltaire talked about this. The best way to control society is to use religion. The best way to get a bunch of people to do a bunch of terrible shit is use religion. Tell them God told them to do it. That's a really scary thing, in my opinion, that masses can be manipulated so easily with fairy tales. As far as I could tell, they're just myths and fables, and yet you could get masses of people to just kill and torture.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
burn
basis
people
for mass
alive.
mind control, whether it's a government or religion, because then they can sway your opinion about any one given subject because they're force feeding it to you all at once, and they have it and compartmentalized where you're at in your locality to tell you to fix your vote or whatever they're fixing.
Yeah, there's something to be said for groupthink, and when you get out of philosophy and look more into psychology, like if you were in imagine a sports stadium and there was, let's say, 20,000 people collectively in this sporting arena. If less than 10% of those people, let's say 1,000 people, jumped up and started screaming fire and running towards the exits without any evidence of any fire or anything else going on, all 20,000, that fucking place would empty. You know, that whole place would just empty out. Yeah, stampede out. You know, they'd be running over each other. And it wouldn't matter if there was actually a fire or not. Just all it would take is 1,000 people to control 20,000 people just by freaking out and running towards the door. You know, they could scream anything, which is why there's actually laws, even countries that have
It would
free
probably take
speech.
way less than that. An alarm, a small firecracker, and just 10 or 15 people. You know, who knows? But yeah, the things can get exaggerated. Yeah, so it was like a thing. You know, people grow up and they want to do something wild to rebel. So it's like people do wild things. Like, you know, I don't know. I might have known some kids that hit the fire alarm someplace before when they were kids. You know, it's just like people do things to rebel growing up. You know, whether it's smash a bottle or pull a fire alarm or act a loon. It's just always been a thing. We just need more, I think, fields and wilderness for people to do that. Outdoor camping, for people to get their yayas out, you know, and then, you know, I think signing aggressive people up for martial arts, get them out there hitting on some pads, you know, I just think there's ways to counterbalance how society is to itself and get us all smoothed out a little better. But that's in the future, like in Star Trek days. Sorry, continue.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think that because I don't believe in free will, I think that the environment plays such a major role in our decision making, quote unquote, decision making processes. That the best thing we could do is try to create a more functional environment so that people become more naturally predisposed to more healthy behaviors, especially healthy social behaviors. But we are a social species. We do tend to we work together. We need to cooperate as a social animal. But this really diverted from my final question about the metaphysics, and I should get off this and let you guys get to your show. But I was just curious as to, you know, if you believe that you may have reincarnated into other life forms. I'm just curious when you mentioned the vegan thing and eating the animals and stuff. Why is it that you put animal life over plant life, for example? Are plants, you know, possibly, you know, do have some value? You mentioned kissing the trees and stuff like that, but you eat plants. Why is it that the plants can be eaten, but the animals cannot be eaten? Just kind of curious.
Yeah. I never thought of that. So, yeah, kissing plants. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
All right, guys, I'm going to leave you
with we eat the fruit of the tree. Yeah, we don't eat the actual tree, but yeah, we end up cutting them down for the wood. But that's how I see it. Is like maybe a person's the tree, but you eat the fruit. That's.
I don't believe plants feel pain, even though there are those who say it. I don't believe that. But yeah, I just find my plants beautiful, so I kiss them.
Well, I'm going to leave you with a positive note. I think plants are beautiful also, and you can give them a hug and a kiss for me too. All right, sister. Thank you so much for letting me crash this. Thank you so much for letting me crash the conversation. You guys, I've very much enjoyed talking to you. I appreciate you letting me ask you guys some tough questions about the reincarnation stuff. You've been very gracious to share your thoughts on that. And I did find the conversation fascinating. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, yeah. Okay, I'm sure you're talking about Edgar Casey on your channel if that's the subject that interests you.
Edgar Casey, oh yes. Yeah. Do you believe what he says? Organic?
I think it's very interesting. I don't take anybody one word for it. I take my own word for it after I study many words for it and then delve into the subject myself usually.
Because he reckons that the UK and parts of the UK and parts of the west coast of Europe are going to land up under the sea. But Putin is forever saying he'd like to see the UK under the sea. Now he's threatening, you know.
The chat asked Jay says, one last existential question. What are we as a species supposed to be building towards or working towards? That's not an individual purpose. So I think it's always building a world within a world. So we'll get a virtual world where we all have the holodeck or beyond, but we'll actually have a universal one where we transport out of it. So it's like a dream within a dream version of a holodeck where time and space don't matter anymore. And that's, to me, the end goal of our technology for humanity's purpose. Otherwise, we'll have self-building artificial robots to do everything else. But that's a different purpose. I do think we have very different spiritual purposes, and that's to pull everybody onto the correct side that we once lost, supposedly in some kind of war in heaven, because I'm pretty sure that's why we're down here. We're the ones that all hit the ground.
Hello, Jay.
So we got a lot of changing to do in that way to reverse whatever transpired that day. Anybody else want to come up and chit chat for a minute? I'm not sure if DNW is around to let people in or out, or how that works.
Oh, look.
I do not have authority over letting people in myself.
Danny wants to come on. I don't know how to do
Hello,
it.
come on. Oh, hit the link. The link is in the chat, usually at the top. Click on it. It says StreamYard. The StreamYard thing under DNW's name usually says StreamYard on this conversation at the top, or somewhere drop it in the middle of the chat. But I think he's off having a jog.
Yes.
I think he's up on a roof somewhere. I think he's maybe, putting on, doing some extracurricular cat burglary stuff to pick up some extra money on the side, climbing the neighbor's window,
Yes.
picking up the silver, since silver is going up a lot, guys. Silver is going up a lot. So
yes, I know, because there's
sterling silver. That's not pure silver. Sterling silver is stainless. Is steel covered in silver, and it's 92% silver at least. And then you have your silver plated stuff, which is barely silver, and that stuff is worth I'd wait on the market on that for a minute, because it's worth less than 25 cents a gram right now for silver plate. Hello, welcome to the chat. Hello, Social Experiment, Flat Atlantis. Hello. Chit chat amongst yourselves. Say hi, everybody.
Wait, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi. Hello, everyone. So yeah, my question basically is, what is our collective purpose as a species? I know we often talk about individual purpose, like what each person's individual purpose is, but I want to forget that for a moment, and I want to focus on what we as a species are collectively supposed to be working towards. What do you guys think?
You know what? I'm a terrible, terrible pessimist, as you probably already know. I've got no idea. It's a bloody mystery to me. And I've been here for 70 years now, and I still haven't managed to work it out.
I think we're working on a VR holodeck. Sorry, I think we're working on a VR holodeck, world within a world, where we have some Inception-like thing where time and space doesn't matter, and that's the physical, structural, technological development we're supposed to do, and then spiritually we're supposed to, reverse what we did to lose that spiritual war we did to end up with the curses we have to be the human beings that are imperfect.
Could you expand on that, because that sounds like a lot.
I think it was what the person came in before, where we were talking about initially in the conversation with the global, or came in, that we were talking about the reincarnation thing. So how many cycles does it take? Someone said. So I mean, as many as it takes as to get everybody, I think, to the next thing. So it's not one person's cycle, it's everybody's. So we're not done until the last person is pulled, or last spirit, last soul is pulled to the correct side of the boat to lodge it in the correct direction for all of a species that is more than human. That's my belief. That's why I'm a doomsdayer, because everybody has to be wiped out to do it, because it's probability not going to happen that way. And if everybody's wiped out at the same time, more likely we'll be reincarnated in a more symbiotic way.
Interesting. Oh, and Alpha, the first one, says your purpose is to solve. Okay, Alpha, the first one, says that your purpose is to solve all human being problems in the known universe. Interesting. So how do we go about solving all problems then? Because it seems like our problems never seem to end.
That's what we invented. Our ceiling of our intelligence and our abilities is going to be met with technology. So I think we'll move toward that, like I said, until we have a holodeck where we build a second holodeck within that we enter, and there's no time, meaning every year you spend in this, less than seconds pass in reality. Therefore, you have all the time in the world to become enlightened or learn something or be way expansive or learn the violin and then come back to your original body and be playing it. I think that it's going to be endless when they can create a way of inception here to allow a universe within a universe. All right, sorry, with technology, and then spiritually is the other path.
But organic, haven't you already heard that Elon Musk has been saying that it's only a matter of time? We know he's talking about putting chips in people's brains. And when you have a chip put in your brain, you'll be able to download an entire law degree in 30 minutes. Haven't you heard that yet? It's on YouTube somewhere.
You brought it up. I remember you talking about it. I'm okay on Elon. I'm even subscribed to him on X, but I hardly ever use my X account. But yeah, Elon's a dude. He does stuff. Does he drive a Bugatti?
No, he drives a Tesla.
Oh, no Bugatti for you.
But he said this, that to be able to download a law degree in half an hour.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wish I could have done that.
And I download a Koenigsegg in a half hour.
What? A what?
Koenigsegg. It's a car is faster than a Bugatti.
Oh, right, okay.
Made by Koenigsegg.
No, what we need is we need more spiritual stuff, not more material stuff. I think that's what'll make us happier.
This world's gone seriously wrong. Yeah,
I'm on Amazon on the other. I'm sorry, I'm using Amazon. I'm trying to order more exotic cars and strippers to be sent. Where are we going? What's going on? Oh, this world or the next? Which one's better? Which one should we send them?
I don't know. I don't like cars.
Wait, Danny Shine, what is your oh, go ahead.
Cupcakes and kittens. Where are we sending them?
Wait, Danny Shine, what is your opinion? What do you think is our purpose as a collective? If there is any. Are you trying to speak, Danny? Because we can't hear you, Danny.
Social? Is that you, social?
Danny, we can't hear you if you're trying to speak.
Social experimentalist. Hello, can you hear us? Can you speak? This is a test.
Oh, Danny, I think you're gonna have to leave and come back. Yeah. Okay, I guess he's gonna come back. I actually like Divine's answer. She said that our purpose is to to raise our frequency to the love vibe. Yeah,
it will be done for us by some kind of outside force. That's what I believe. If we can't get it together, we will be destroyed to regroup in a better vibration. That's what my name Doomsday is all about. Like Doomsday will unite us if we cannot do it ourselves. That is our destination, is a Doomsday.
Yeah, I honestly hope that that's true. I honestly hope that all of us can maybe get on the same page one day and learn to have genuine love for each other. As pessimistic as I can be, I do wish that the world actually was full of love and harmony and peace and whatnot. Hey, Danny, can you hear us now? Danny, can you speak? We still can't hear you, Danny.
Well, it's got to be done one way or another, and I think that's what the Bible says too. It says they sent, the first time everybody didn't do the right thing. That's in a lot of religions. Is we're in the 5th age or something, and this is destroyed by fire or something.
Maybe. Nibble says yes. When will Neuralink, I guess, come? Not When will Neuralink come? Is there a release date yet? Imagine the queues around the corner at John Lewis when Tesla does that. The queues will be longer than when Apple released the first iPod. And then Alpha said, human purpose equals solving all human problems. If you cannot solve problems, you have no purpose. Right, but what I'm saying is that our problems as a species seem to be infinite, Alpha. They seem to be never ending. That's the point. But yeah.
I mean, that's why we have AI. We can solve some of the problems.
Danny, your microphone isn't working or something, mate. You got to connect it or something. I don't know. Allow access to it. I can see you're unmuted, but no sound is coming out. So yeah, anybody else who wants to come on the show, please do. Link is in the chat. I'm just taking a back seat tonight.
Wait, DNW, what's your answer? What do you think is our collective purpose?
To solve the problem of suffering for life as a phenomenon.
Interesting. Okay. And do you have faith that we will collectively solve that problem one day?
Well, maybe not us, but we're on the cusp of building AI that might be able to do it, because it will be able to build and do things with extrasensory ability, better processing ability, and also it will able, like a lot of the human problems come from communication, trying to communicate to each other what is important in a project. So when we try to do something that takes lots of different types of knowledge, we have people sitting around like a project table, as it were, and like the computer engineer is talking to the biologist is speaking to the business people, and they're speaking to the politicians, and everybody has different hats on, but they don't necessarily understand what has been said to them by the other people too well, because they are not proficient in the topics being discussed, that their brains are not tuned to talk about engineering, to talk about science, talk about whatever, philosophy, because if it was, they would be the expert on that side of the table, but they're not. So we do what we can do. So I think that's one of the problems with humans. AI won't have that problem, because AI will, in essence, be all one thing. All the information will be serving one entity. And so hopefully, given that as well, it will have mightier abilities than us. But yeah, you got to think about the fact that it will be able to see further. It will be able to have, as I said, extrasensory abilities that we don't have. I can't even imagine what it might be able to do. It will be able to see. It will be able to measure waves, in real time. Whatever wave it wants. It will be able to maybe zoom in at an atomic level, zoom out at a cosmic level, all at once. So who knows what it will be able to do? But yeah, I think it may be able to do something, but not us. We just have to build the initial machine and allow it to do what it's got to do. Anyway, Danny, you're showing up green there, so that means you're with us.
You can hear me now?
We can hear you, brother. Welcome to the show. Feel free to interject at any time. As I say, I'm just taking a back seat because I feel like I'm getting a slight cold, so I don't want to. Yeah, I'll be hitting.
I hope you feel better.
Well, I just don't want it to turn into a flu. But anyway, anybody else want to come on? Please do. Link us in the chat. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, Danny. So, what do you think is our collective purpose as a species?
I'm really. I think opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Oh boy.
You should. Do you read books for a living? You have a great voice, Danny.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, maybe that's Danny's
He's actually just published a book, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Tell us about the book, Danny, what it stands for, because it's actually got. I listened to his audio, or I haven't listened to all of it. He's on YouTube. He has the whole audio book there. It is good, but he's got lots of positive feedback. Tell us about the book and why you wrote it, Danny.
Well, because I saw a gap.
Where they can get it as well, by the way.
Yeah. I saw a gap as far as I know, there's nobody's done this before. Maybe they have, but nobody's ever looked at life and exposed it for what it really is. I don't know any book like that. So I wrote this book called Life an Expose to look at a hard, truthful, brutally truthful look at life and what's involved in living life. And there's 3 sections. The first section is how dark nature is itself. So you bring a person into the body and what that means, all the difficulties and the fighting and the things that can go wrong and the internal fighting that goes on in our bodies and all that. And then there's what the culture does to us. And then the last section is about, given that, why would anybody bring someone to life?
So it's very pessimistic then.
It's like an appendix of all the possible physical and mental health conditions that a person can experience when they're brought into flesh.
So it's very pessimistic, Danny. Yes.
Essentially, it sounds like it, yeah. But I'm sure he wouldn't say it's pessimistic. Yeah. It's being honest, right?
Yeah. So that's
why I like pessimism. That to me is honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't see
aliens, demons, flying porpoises, whatever comes next, that's going to be okay too. Whatever people believe in, it all could be bad. It all could be good. Less pain would be good, less suffering. And I think, a lot of people can help others with that. And then we're going to have advancements in technology and drugs and what they can do to a person's body to limit, I think, certain, issues that are plague medical issues today. So we're going to help people out slowly, but I don't think it's perfect yet. And it's going to take a minute. And I think certain things, but they're eventually going to genetically get it out of us, which is the sad part. That is the new people will be genetically engineered not to have disease. But continue.
Shideo says no one gives a fuck. Ultimately, there are consequences for that level of sustained apathy. We're all about to find out real soon. 4 years with bullshit events sprinkled in between. I don't know what you're talking about there, Shideo. So you'll have to come on and tell us.
Yeah, Shideo.
And anybody else there? We have Alpha. Do you want to come on here?
Come on.
Yeah.
Hello, Shideo.
Joel,
come on the show. Hit the link.
Joel Davis. Do you want to come on here? This is Finding Gnosis show on YouTube. Come on and talk to us.
This is the Finding Gnosis show. Yeah, guys, come up and chat. Shideo, Alpha, Joel, Paris, Loho.
Danny, what are you going to do with this book? Are you going to print it off and leave it in places? Are you going to? What's the hope?
I don't know. It's available on Amazon. It's like £5 or something. It's just very cheap.
What's the title of it?
Get the book.
Life an Expose.
You can share the link in the live chat actually, because
Danny's book, Life an Expose.
Divine says, just be, let go, allow, and heal.
Yeah.
What do you say to that, Danny?
You want whatever you want. Don't forget your die.
Yeah, don't remind me. Yeah, interesting, okay. And how long did it take you to write that book, Danny?
No, not long. On and on.
A few fortnight.
Wait, by the way, is there a bit of feedback from me or someone? Because I feel like I'm hearing like a kind of a bit of feedback whenever someone speaks. I don't know who it is. Is my mic okay?
I'm on now. Can you hear me? I'm on now. I can hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, there's a little bit of feedback on your microphone, organic.
Oh, okay, it's organic. Okay. Yeah. By the way, Chicky, I didn't realize you had such a huge crush on Emil Cioran.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, I love his writings. Love him. No, really, if he was alive, I'd go for a hug because someone that miserable, what I want to meet.
Hello.
Well,
is it fixed?
What?
Yeah, it's good now. Yeah, it's good. Organic.
I just bought your book, Danny.
No way! You have your first
Check
buyer,
microphone.
Danny.
Thanks.
What?
Oh, hi. That's nice. Well done.
Well,
You'll
Danny,
like
You
it.
made about £1.20 there, Danny.
I'll enjoy that. I like a nice bit of misery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
no,
it's,
I like
there's
misery.
some
Cheers me
humour.
up.
There's some humour in it as well.
That's okay, so long as it's not too happy clappy.
No, no.
No, 'cause I
So
don't like
also what I did in the book, which again I've not seen anywhere, is there's a chapter on how much it costs to bring a human being into existence.
All right.
And it breaks it all down, and it gives 3 layers. You know, basic, Western cost, mid, and then a good life.
All right.
And it's between £4.5 and £9 million per human.
What?
Yeah, to do it properly. Yeah.
Yes, I can't believe that because I'll tell you something actually about life, and I've noticed this. Whenever you read the life stories of, say, musicians, or mostly musicians in particular, they always got given that chance when they were very young. Parents bought the musical instruments, they went to music classes, and it makes so much difference if you were born into a higher class, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was. I've been a musician all my life.
Lucky you.
And my parents bought
The
me
real rock and roller guys.
Yeah. My parents bought me all, lovely keyboard, and that's how I started.
Lucky thing.
Yeah.
Well, because I come from an army camp. Don't I know it?
Oh dear.
Yes. Went to lots of different schools, all 12 of them.
Bloody hell.
I know. Yeah, I went to 12 different schools
I
in
ask
5.
Danny, what about in terms of education? How did he input that into his £4 million needed to bring up a kid? Was it going to a private school, or was it being educated at home? What was it?
Well, it depends. The expensive one is private school. The cheap one, 4.5. That's just regular school.
Yeah. But
private schools in the UK do give people a step up. There's no doubt about it.
Is that all due to financing and down payment, or is that just like straight up?
Well, first of all, I think it's probably a better education because the kids, I think they probably misbehave outside of class, but they don't misbehave in class as much. I heard, because in the average school, kids are misbehaving in class, and it's hard to run a lesson.
Oh, but D&W state schools are just brainwashing machines. That's all they are. They're just there to get them ready for the office and the factory. If you go to a public school, you learn things like acting, music,
oration,
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That
like the water has waves on it, the sky has cirrus,
Greek and Roman philosophy,
cumulus and nimbus clouds in it, and stratus. There's a heliosphere around the solar system, and they can learn stuff. Crikey, and they can learn paragraph and sentence structure and about literature and Shakespeare.
But we do that at state schools.
Danny, have you managed to escape the worst flu season ever so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that because you haven't been going out as much, or?
I have no idea.
Good man. Well, Chickpea here is an isolationist. She doesn't go out, so she's going to be all right.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm going out tomorrow. I'm going to the doctor. Yes, doctor wants to see me. I must be the only person in the world that gets the doctor saying, I want to see you tomorrow, or would have been 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I've got to go for wants to talk to me about something. God knows what.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry. When the plague comes to town, I'll be the last one standing. I will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. That's what. I know it.
Oh no, I don't know whether to wish you that because although you'd probably be happy because there'd be no other humans around.
Oh, D&W, that's not fair.
It would just be you and the animals.
What?
It would just be you and the animals left if you were the last ones done.
That's true. Yeah, I probably quite like that.
Who's going to deliver her Amazon though? Who's going to deliver?
That's true. Because I'll tell you something. I get everything delivered nowadays. I don't go out anymore. I just get everything brought to the door. So I do go out for anyway. Yes. But as I was saying,
train these drones quick.
What?
We got to get these drones trained quick so they can work for you when it's just you and the pets. We get rid of the humans. Yeah. We got a plan now. Thanks, D&W. We've been waiting for the plan. Thanks.
Organic, you get all your
Sounds good. We'll take it from here.
Organic, you get all your
automated everything. Chickpea, me, all the cats and drones delivering everything we need.
Lots of cat litter and lots of cat food.
Yeah, because there'll be plenty. Because there won't be other people. Uh-oh. Am I in trouble? Did
Divine
I say that?
Here. Hello to Divine.
Oh.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Greetings. I'll turn off my mic a second. Hello.
That's talk, isn't it?
I lost you. I didn't hear what you said.
I said, do you get all your cat litter and cat food delivered? Honestly, every week I get a whole pile of cat litter,
No,
food.
we get it at the store. I do not get it. We had the grocery store or the big box store.
All right. I get all mine delivered. Little man brings everything for me.
We get 42 pounds at a time, though, from the box.
Yeah, I get that delivered. Who's his little man struggling with big bags of cat litter? Yes, because there's 7 of them pooping and peeing away.
I am that man.
Tomcat,
I am that man.
Organic. I must tell you something. My tomcat, my ginger tom. Would you like to see him? He piddles on the loo.
You can put him on. Put him on. You're going to show us you're one of your cats?
Yeah.
Divine is coming on. Let Divine talk in a minute. But I mean, yeah. Say hello, Divine. Bring out your cat, Chickpea.
Organic. That's what I say. Organic. My ginger Tom does his dirty and everything on the loo, like us humans do.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Big handsome. Look, I'll show him to you. He's a big handsome Buster boy. I'll just be very quick.
How do we know it's not AI?
No, it's Dave. Here he is. Can you see him? Say hello.
Hello, big guy.
Yeah.
He's on the big screen. Yeah. He's taking over your mind, folks.
Sorry, I'll shut
He's giving you the toxoplasmosis. Everybody that has cats got the toxoplasmosis, blah, 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 blah thing. Yep. Yeah. Takes over your mind. Makes you want to pet cats. All right. Sorry to interrupt. That was great. Thanks for the interjection with the cat there.
He's nice, isn't he? He's a real Buster boy. Yeah. Handsome.
That's a great beast. He's a good boy. Who is yelling? Help.
D&W yelling.
What? He's potty trained.
What, Divine?
I said D&W's potty trained. Why is he jealous?
I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm not actually.
But I'll tell you something funny, Divine. It's actually happened a couple of times now.
Actually, you remind me. I was talking to a physiotherapist the other day, and he was telling me about this unfortunate thing that can happen to people. It does happen to people, and that is the nerves in their butt stop working, and basically they don't know whether they're farting or shitting, and so they end up pooping themselves a lot. You know,
I've heard about that. Yeah,
it's horrible. Yeah.
Yes, I know. It's part of the aging process.
How horrible is that? Yeah.
Yes, I know. That's aging.
It's actually not part of the aging process. It's
Sleeping on the train tracks. Thanks for the advice.
What? They reckon
it's not part of the aging process. It's what people believe about the aging process is what creates those things.
Oh, okay. But what I was saying about my bruiser boy, we're reaching a point now that twice now I've had to stand and wait for him to finish doing his business before I can go and do mine. So I have to wait for a little tomcat to finish pooping before I can use the loo. That's how mad it is. But Divine, I have heard, and I've read this in the Daily Mail, that Donald Trump has to wear nappies nowadays because he's got problems with his poo-poos during the day. I've read in the Daily Mail.
When you don't have balance in your gut, you're going to create all kinds of havoc for the physical body.
But you think Donald Trump is a clone, don't you?
Who, me?
I think one of them is in office there, yes. I think the actual one is in hiding, and then there's a clone doing all his business. And I may not be here for long because my phone loves to heat up during these situations.
Well, I reckon it will only be going on for another 15 minutes or so.
Spill the tea quick, then.
Have it sitting on ice now.
Oh, wow.
Don't anyone talk at once.
Sorry?
Don't anyone talk at once.
But you know what, that whole incident with Trump supposedly getting shot in his ears, I think that was a real psyop, actually. I don't believe that for 1 minute.
He still has ears. That is true.
Well, you know, the fact that a bullet could just zip past his ear and not actually, I found that a little bit hard to believe. But then, I'm like, I don't believe anything. I think it's all everything. I think everything is an inside job. Everything. What I don't understand is why doesn't the US have young people or someone in their 50s as president instead of some little old geezer in his 80s? Really, it's much too old, in my opinion.
What was that? Hello?
Hello? I don't know. No one's talking anymore.
I see the chat is Nibbles, Farhat, Joel. Hello, everybody. Enjoy chatting. Like I said, D&W said we only got a little while. Everybody, come on, last 15 minutes. Come up before we just talking to insanity over here in circles. Come on the show. Tell us what you're thinking about the subjects we talked about today. What is your insight here?
So D&W, are you going to get Danny's book?
I'm listening to the audiobook.
All right, okay. All right. Right, okay. Good. I think it'd be quite a good book, actually.
I'm actually going to listen on my other device, so I have to unplug from this one. So I'm going to say thank you, everybody, and please come up on the show, and I'm going to be listening.
All right, brother. Thank you for joining us, Retro. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Jay, you're quiet. I don't want to talk too much, guys, so please keep going.
Danny's quite pessimistic, isn't he? I like pessimists, as you know. Nothing cheats me up more than a good bit of pessimism. D&W, I'm allowed to say pessimism. D&W.
Those are sound effects again.
Would like to hear some David Bowie, DNW.
No, a copyright strike. No.
All right then. Don't listen to some David Bowie then. Do you ever listen to what's his name? He sang that song in the 70s, Supertramp.
Yes. You're a fan of them as well?
What? Yes. I've been listening to him a lot lately, especially with that song, the Logical song. You know the Logical song?
I don't know the names of them, but go ahead.
Logical song. He sings about being logical. D&W. He sings about being logical and predictable. Okay. You're working tomorrow, D&W? I said, are you working?
And on that horrible reminder, I suppose I better go to bed. So,
you're right, Grump, tonight, aren't you? Call me.
No,
Grump.
I just don't want to. I feel like I've got a cold, and I don't want to get any worse. To be honest with you.
Make sure you take lots of vitamin C. You do know
Thank
that,
you,
yes?
darling. I will. So I'm going to leave it to you two. Jay, are you there?
I'm going as well.
Jay's
I've
gone.
got
He's well
early
gone.
start tomorrow. So night, D&W.
Take care, darling, and we'll come back again soon. Yeah. Bye, darling. That's it, folks. Everybody who joined in tonight in the conversation, thank you for doing so. You make the show what it is, which can be good sometimes. But yeah, we will come back another time because that's what we got to do, I suppose. I'm going to try and play an outro if I can find one. I used to have an outro. One thing Noodles did when he was here, he fucking moved everything around in the studio. So I can't find anything. I don't know why he did that, but other than that, he did fantastic. Okay, here's the outro. We'll come back soon. Don't worry. Come to Finding Gnosis on YouTube. And we will go live again soon. You'll be able to have your say.
We search for meaning.
We
question all.
Fine.
The
And
path
happy
is
Saturnalia.
winding. The veil is thin.
Take care, Nibbles.
All right, take care, everyone. I was away from keyboard, so I just came back.
Okay,
But yeah, see you guys next time. Cheers.
Finding Gnosis show. We will come back soon, so make sure that.
One more question, one more spark. We chase the light inside the dark. Voices whisper, thoughts collide. Truths are hidden deep inside. The world's a riddle, a shifting dream. Reality isn't what it seems. Seeking knowledge, breaking chains. Through the echoes, through the pain. One more question, one more spark. We chase the light inside the dark. Until next time, keep your mind wide. Stay curious and let wisdom guide you. Let